the mythical empire of civilization. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Carriage Workshop. Qin Yu nodded and finally understood. In order to continue the totem belief, it seems quite normal to separate some people from the main tribe to establish a branch tribe. Qin Yu did not dwell on this matter, but proposed that the people of Pan's Han tribe go to the tribe to identify whether there is their chief's daughter. The tall and strong man nodded, and he also understood that the other party was still a little wary, and he could understand it. He picked 5 people to follow him into the dragon tribe. Looking at the corpses all over the dragon tribe, the tall and strong man began to feel depressed and nervous. He was afraid that one of these corpses was a daughter of the chief. Several people followed all the way to a tent. This tent was where the team that Yuming brought back from the Black Wolf tribe in the morning stayed. Princess. The tall and strong man walked into the tent and instantly recognized a teenage girl. Uncle Lee. The little girl looked up at the visitor and shouted with surprise. Qin Yu silently retreated. The daughter of the chief of a primitive tribe is called a princess. It's a bit strange, but if you have to say something, it seems to be fine. My name is Lee. I have to thank your tribe for helping me find the daughter of the chief this time. Lee was obviously in a good mood at this time, and his tone was quite grateful and polite. Qin Yu smiled and responded, "You're welcome. Today's matter of the Black Wolf tribe is also thanks to your help. The Black Wolf tribe dared to provoke us. If they dare to show up in the future, you can send someone to Pan's Han tribe to notify me, and I will bring people here immediately." Lee took out a bone necklace from his arms and threw it to Qin Yu. "If you need support, hang this bone necklace outside the forest, and I will bring people to help. This is my Pan's Han tribe's thanks. See you again. Wait a minute, I also have a gift for your tribe." Qin Yu asked someone to put 50 kilograms of coal in a straw frame and gave it to Lee. "This is a heating fuel that can replace wood and burn longer. These are gifts. If your tribe still needs them, we can discuss the trade." Lee nodded and accepted the gift, then led the team away. Qin Yu held the bone chain in his hand and stared at the direction where the Pan's Han team left. After a long time, he turned back to the tribe. After returning to the tribe, Qin Yu began to have people count the losses in the tribe this time. A moment later, when the loss statistics appeared in front of Qin Yu, he felt depressed. The original population of the tribe was 148, and 32 people were lost. Currently, the remaining population of the tribe is 116. The Stone Spear team lost 5 people and the archers 8 people. There were also many losses among the male tribesmen. Qin Yu sighed. The biggest loss was Yeoju, a talent with strong internal affairs ability. Due to the cold weather, Qin Yu ordered people to dig pits to bury the dead in the tribe, but 5 or 6 stone shovels broke, and they didn't dig very deep. Therefore, Qin Yu decided to choose cremation. Outside the west gate of the dragon tribe, a large bonfire was piled up with firewood. The dead tribesmen and warriors in the tribe were carried to the bonfire one by one. Elder Yeo, warriors of the Stone Spear team, warriors of the hunting team, all warriors, all heroes, have a safe journey. Light the fire. As several torches were thrown into the large bonfire, the flames slowly rose. Everyone stood in front of the bonfire with heavy hearts, bowing their heads slightly to feel the rising flames. Because of these dead tribesmen and companions, the dragon tribe has a future and the qualification to survive. Everyone will do their best to contribute, whether for gratitude, for survival, or for the development of the tribe. The fire burned for half an hour. It was already dark at this time, so Qin Yu ordered people to start preparing dinner. Ya had woken up at this time, so Qin Yu called a few people to the tribe leader's tribe for a small meeting to plan the future development of the tribe. Qin Yu sat in the main seat, and the atmosphere in the tent was a little dull. The seat that originally belonged to Yeoju was now empty. After a long time, Qin Yu was the first to break the silence and said, "Old Yeo's position still needs someone to inherit. Recently, you can recommend candidates to me from the tribe." Several people nodded one after another, and Qin Yu continued, "The number of stone spears will be increased to 20, and the number of archers will be increased to 40. We need to strengthen training in the next few days. Yeah, understands. Yuming understands. Well, yeah, take a rest for 2 days. You can properly guide the tribe members to train archery, but you don't have to do it yourself. Qin Yu could see that the muscles in Ya's arms had been torn and strained, and she needed to rest. Ya nodded and stopped talking. Yuming will bring the 10 people I asked you to pick out earlier, and also move the weapons and equipment prepared in advance in the warehouse. After a long time, 10 male tribesmen stood in a row in front of the tent. Wooden armor, arm armor, animal bone axes, wooden shields, etc. were piled on the ground. Distribute these things to each person. Following Qin Yu's order, the 10 people changed in the blink of an eye. He was wearing wooden armor and arm armor, holding a wooden shield in his left hand and a sharp animal bone axe in his right hand. He looked like an elite primitive tribal warrior. You 10 people will form a shield axe team, led by Jiangli. Jiangli was stunned and asked in doubt, "Chief, you left such a strong team to me? Since you have the ability, I will not let you down. I will give you the training of this team in the future. Take good care of it." Qin Yu patted Jiangli on the shoulder and said, "I will never let the chief down." Jiangli said seriously. Qin Yu nodded with satisfaction. After dinner, Qin Yu rubbed his slightly bulging belly and returned to the tent. A light curtain appeared in front of him with 2 prompts on it that he had not had time to check today. Congratulations on making a simple defensive fortification wooden city wall and getting civilization points x800. Congratulations on winning a war and getting a primary Victor gold coin x1 piece, 800 civilization points and a Victor gold coin. There is no rush to upgrade the technology tree for the time being. Let's draw a prize first. Qin Yu rubbed his hands. In a trance, he came to the lush cliff. He threw the gold coin in his hand down with ease. A stream of green light shot up from below and fell into Qin Yu's hands. You consume a primary Victor gold coin and get Carriage Workshop X1, green quality, Carriage Workshop Introduction, a building workshop that can produce carriages which can be built at a freely chosen location. Another building reward. Qin Yu's eyes lit up when he looked at the introduction. What you need comes, and it just so happens that there are horses in the tribe. With a carriage workshop, you can develop a trade caravan to trade coal mines to more distant places. Second update, please read and vote. Chapter 27, The Road to Trade, Seeking Follow-up reading. In the early morning, the sun shines on the snow, making it sparkle with golden light. The cold wind whistles, and the frost is chilling. The people of the dragon tribe once again spend a cold night, but unlike before, they did not feel the slightest bit of coldness last night. It was because of the black stones that the chief brought back yesterday. Those stones burned red, and even without flames, they could bring warmth to the tent. This was the first extremely warm night they had ever had in their lives. After breakfast, Qin Yu came to the carriage workshop he had set up in the tribe last night. Since he asked the tribe members in the tribe to start working early in the morning, a carriage would be produced soon. Carriage workshop, current production target, small carriage, unlocking medium carriage. 1000 civilization points, unlocking large carriage. 3000 civilization points, maximum productivity. 20. Up to 20 civilians can be placed to work. Small carriage, a small carriage that can be pulled by one horse, capable of carrying a certain weight of materials and population/20 productivity. One carriage is produced every 5 hours. A small carriage will suffice for now. About half an hour later, the first carriage was produced, which was slightly larger than a horse. Even a small carriage has 4 wheels, and the carriage beam in front of the carriage has a belt, which can be hung on the horse to drive the carriage. Qin Yu asked someone to bring a strong horse to the carriage, and then chose a tribe member who he thought had a talent for driving, and forced him to do it. After 2 hours of familiarization, this tribe member was barely able to drive the carriage. It was still a bit talented. At noon, several tribe members began to pile up straw baskets filled with coal in the carriage. This straw basket was smaller than a normal straw basket, and each basket only contained 20 to 30 kilograms of coal. Yuming, take 20 people with you, and go with a carriage. Try to deliver the coal mines to the tribes in the west of the grassland. When you come back, use black charcoal ash to draw the route on the animal skin. Have a safe trip. Go. I obey your orders. Yuming raised his hand and saluted, then turned around and led the carriage team to the west. The Black Wolf tribe is in the south, and after yesterday's battle, the losses were not small. Qin Yu estimated that he would not start a war again in the near future. Qin Yu looked at the direction of the carriage team for a long time. I hope everything goes well. If the coal can be sold well in the tribes of the grassland this time, Qin Yu will take this opportunity to develop rapidly. When the dragon tribe becomes a behemoth, it will be difficult for those tribes that covet the benefits of the coal mine to start a business. After Yuming left, Qin Yu called Jiang Li back. Jiang Li, who was once the chief of the White Fox tribe, not only has strong personal combat power, but also good military and political abilities. He is an all-round talent. Chief, you are looking for me. Jiang Li hurried over and asked respectfully. Qin Yu nodded. Take 40 people from the tribe to the valley yesterday to transport more coal. Take the shield and axe team, and be careful on the way. Jiang Li arched his hands and said, I understand, don't worry. Go, I'm still very confident in your work. He watched the direction where Jiang Li led the team away, and turned away, until he could no longer see anyone. Qin Yu was not idle for the rest of the afternoon. He first went to the archery training ground and took a look at the archery recruits who were training. They all looked good. After watching for a while, Qin Yu found a vacant space and started to tinker with some things. He was busy until the evening. During this time, he made 2 simple little things. After hearing 2 prompts to get 100 civilization points, Qin Yu happily ended this brushing work. The sky was dim, and Jiang Li was the first to bring the team back. There were 40 people in the team carrying full straw baskets. Qin Yu went over and estimated that this time they probably brought back more than 3,000 kilograms of coal. Move the coal mine into the warehouse and let everyone take a rest. Dinner will be served soon. Yes. Jiang Li nodded in response. Did the trip go smoothly? Qin Yu looked up and asked. Reporting to the tribe leader, we only encountered a few wild beasts on the road, but they were scared away because of our large number of people. The entrance to the valley was also specially hidden. Don't worry. Qin Yu patted Jiang Li's shoulder and showed a satisfied look. After dinner, Qin Yu's worries were finally put to rest because Yuming came back with the carriage team. Qin Yu, who learned the news, quickly asked Yuming to report the situation to his tent. In the tribe leader's tent. Injured? Qin Yu looked at the blood on Yuming's arm and couldn't help asking. Thank you for your concern, Chief. This is the blood of the enemy. After explaining, Yuming began to report the situation of this trip. 15 baskets of coal have been delivered to the western tribes of the grassland. The uses and methods have been described. However, I suggest that the team should send more people next time to prevent them from being robbed by evil people. Qin Yu nodded and took the map handed over by Yuming. This should be the original trade map and trade route. Go down and have someone heat up the food. The team has not eaten for a day and needs to replenish their physical strength. Qin Yu said softly. Yuming nodded and then turned and walked out of the tent. The coal that Qin Yu sent out is probably enough for each tribe for 2 or 3 days. The tribe with a small population will use it for a few more days, and the tribe with a large population will use it for a few less days. The reason for sending some coal is naturally to let others understand the role and value of coal. Otherwise, how much can you sell by talking? And for Qin Yu, these coals are just some manpower costs. Almost no cost. The next morning, the dragon tribe welcomed a guest from afar. Chief Long, we meet again. Li from Pan's Han tribe said with a smile, while sitting on a wooden chair in the tent. Yes, Lord Li, feel free to ask for anything you want to talk about. Qin Yu responded with a smile. Okay. Li nodded and said, I'm not a person who likes to beat around the bush, so I'll just say it directly. Do you still have the coal stones you gave me before leaving Long tribe the day before yesterday? I came here to trade for coal stones. Of course. Qin Yu couldn't help but smile. How much does Pan's Han tribe need? Like the ones from the day before yesterday, multiply them 20 times. Li thought for a while and said. He didn't know how much Long tribe had, so he said a similar amount. Qin Yu gave about 50 kilograms that day, and 20 times, that would be 1,000 kilograms, which is about half a ton. Although Qin Yu had some, he still had to pretend to be rare. After all, saying that the items are extremely rare can increase the trading gains to a certain extent. Qin Yu looked at Lee with difficulty and said, yes, but making coalstone consumes a lot of manpower and material resources. Every day, the tribesmen go to the mountains to collect wood and come back at night. The wood they collect has to be burned for 3 days before they can finally get a basket of coalstone. Qin Yu said nonsense seriously. Everyone should read it every Tuesday, thank you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Transaction. Seeking follow-up reading. What does Chief Long want to trade? Lee did not answer, but changed the subject. If you want to make more coal, you need more people, so I want to exchange some slaves. Qin Yu stated his purpose. Slaves. Lee frowned and was silent for a moment. 1,000 kilograms of coal. How many slaves does Chief Long want to exchange? Qin Yu shook his head and did not answer. Master Lee, just give a suitable number. Lee did not respond immediately after hearing this. Instead, he began to recall the roll of coal. The burning time is more than 10 times that of wood. Even without flames, it can continue to emit temperature for heating. On the day when he switched to burning coal, he slept very comfortably and warmly. If there is enough coal, then no one in the tribe will be frozen to death this winter. On the contrary, exchanging slaves can save some supplies. After winter, when they need them, they can just go and grab some. Soon, Lee figured out the account, and after hesitating for a long time, he gave a price. 1,000 kilograms of coal, 50 slaves. 50 slaves. Qin Yu was shocked. To be honest, his highest expectation was only 50. But he was not a native primitive man after all, and he didn't know too much about the background here, so his expectations were low. However, since the other party had offered such a high price, Qin Yu would naturally raise it. How about this, Lord Lee? 1,000 kilograms of coalstone, 80 slaves. 50 is a bit too little. After all, the dragon tribe needs nearly half a month to burn 1,000 kilograms of coalstone. Okay, then 1,000 kilograms of coal for 80 slaves, but the price can't be so high next time. Lee thought about it and agreed. This is because the other party saved their tribal princess, otherwise he would definitely not suffer this loss in this transaction. Qin Yu smiled and replied, no problem, Lord Lee. In the future, your tribe will buy coalstone according to 1,000 kilograms and 50 slaves. Lee nodded and was satisfied. Then the two parties agreed to the afternoon time, and the dragon tribe would hand over the goods. After the negotiation, Lee took the accompanying warriors back, and he didn't need to show up for the follow-up matters. Time came to the afternoon. Sure enough, a team of 100 people came to the east gate of the dragon tribe. 80 of the slaves were used to buy coal. Qin Yu ran out to check it out in person. These 80 slaves are really good. There are more than 50 adult men, and the rest are women, old people and children. Overall, it is worth it, very worth it. As long as these people can be converted into the population of the dragon tribe, the development speed of the dragon tribe can be greatly improved. Now Qin Yu is very interested in militarism. For him, only strong military force can make the tribe develop faster. He ordered people to move out more than a dozen baskets of coal weighing thousands of pounds, and brought the slaves back to the tribe after the transaction. The two sides reached a harmonious deal. The purchased slaves were placed in the tent area in the north. These slaves looked very thin, and were not well dressed, so Qin Yu asked people to make some meat and porridge for them to share. Let them fill their stomachs when they are hungry, and keep them warm when they are cold. Over time, the other party will obey and be grateful to you. Therefore, Qin Yu gave them food first, and when they felt cold, he gave them clothes to resist the cold fire. Within a few days, these people will be able to integrate smoothly. 2 days later, in the tribe leader's tent, Yuming, Jiang Li, you two will be responsible for leading the caravan on a trade route. Let me tell you the approximate transaction price. 100 kilograms of coal for 3 strong horses, or 5 thin horses. Old horses are not allowed. 100 kilograms of coal for 5 grassland sheep. Young and old sheep are not allowed. 100 kilograms of coal for 2 strong cows, or 4 calves. Old cows are not allowed. 100 kilograms of coal for 20 complete furs. Broken skins are not allowed. 100 kilograms of coal for 3 adult male slaves or 5 adult female slaves. Old people and children are not allowed. 100 kilograms of coal for 40 kilograms of meat. Only smoked meat. Meat that can be preserved for a long time. 100 kilograms of coal for 100 kilograms of food. Coarse grains are required. Qin Yu listed more than a dozen items that could be traded. Then he asked the two to memorize them quickly. Fortunately, Yuming and Jiang Li were both intelligent, and they remembered almost everything in just over 20 minutes. Before leaving, Qin Yu also gave a few instructions. This time, the trade will start from the farthest tribe, and then slowly return along the route. In this way, if you encounter any problems along the way, you can stop the trade and return directly. This time, in addition to the 20 people in the Stone Spear team and the 10 people in the Shield Axe team, you will be assigned a team of 10 archers and 20 tribesmen to escort the goods. All members must wear weapons. After giving instructions, Qin Yu urged the two to set off as soon as possible. In front of the west gate of the Dragon tribe, there were a total of 6 carriages loaded with 3,000 kilograms of coal stones, and the escort team had 60 people. In addition to the wooden armor, the stone spearmen also had a stone spear and 10 javelins. Most of the javelins were placed in the carriage, and they could be pulled out and used once they encountered an enemy. Needless to say, the equipment of the 10 shield axemen was a primitive tank, and it was the kind with relatively high lethality. The axe with abrasive was extremely sharp. Qin Yu felt that no weapon in this era could compare to it. One axe could directly cut the enemy in half. The 10 archers were used as a support, and they could attack the enemy from more than 100 meters away. Their power should not be underestimated. Qin Yu attached great importance to this trade plan, which represented the future rise and fall of the Dragon tribe, and whether it could stockpile enough supplies to support a long war. Looking at the back of the tribal caravan leaving, Qin Yu was looking forward to the team returning in full dress and bringing him a surprise. At present, the population of the Dragon tribe is about 196, which is 200 people rounded up. Because Qin Yu's plan is to take the war route. After all, it is winter now and there is no condition for farming. Secondly, after winter, the novice protection period will be over, and Qin Yu will face the invasion of other players at that time, so vigorously developing the military is the right direction. In the past few days, not only archery training grounds have been built around the tribe, but also javelin training grounds and stone spear training grounds. Because the number of shield and axe team is too small, there is no need to specially build a training ground. After all, Qin Yu does not know when he can draw polishing agent, so if the shield and axe team wants to recruit more people, maybe it depends on fate. Since they had traded 80 slaves with the Rock tribe a few days ago, Qin Yu increased the number of archers led by Yat to 50. All of these 50 people were adult women, and they were all tall and strong. Qin Yu would naturally not let the bloated aunts go out to fight. Chapter 29 Huge profits for sure. The Stone Spear team has grown to 50 people, and there are 30 new recruits in the training ground, who are training day and night. In addition to training the Stone Spear technique, the Stone Spear team also has to practice javelin throwing, which is considered a type of soldier that can be used for both long-range and short-range combat. Archers only need to practice archery and completely abandon javelin throwing. If Qin Yu didn't know how to fight in close combat, he really wanted to teach the archers a few tricks. It can also improve the archer's ability to survive when they are approached to a certain extent. The vast grassland is covered with snow. The cold wind is howling, making it difficult for people to open their eyes. A caravan of 60 people is walking against the wind, heading all the way to the west of the grassland. How far is it? Yuming blocked his left hand in front of him to resist the cold wind. Jiang Li struggled to open the map and looked at it for a long time, then said, "It will take about another half an hour." Yuming nodded and stopped talking. Half an hour later, the Dragon tribe's caravan arrived at the first trading point of this trip, Wind tribe. Although they traveled westward, this place still belongs to the eastern part of the grassland. The scale of the Wind tribe is considered a small tribe, with a population of only more than 40 people. The tribesmen of the Wind Tribe naturally noticed the outside world. When they learned that it was the Dragon Tribe, the chief of the Wind Tribe ran out in person excitedly. Trading coal stone. How to trade? I want to buy more. The chief of the Wind Tribe asked. Jiang Li nodded and began to slowly tell the transaction price planned by Qin Yu. Can it be cheaper? Listening to the price described by the other party, the chief of the Wind Tribe couldn't help but smack his lips. Chief Feng, I believe you know the function of this coal stone. This is an extremely rare thing. It is expensive for a reason. When will the caravan of your tribe come next time? That's hard to say. After a long time, the chief of the Wind Tribe gritted his teeth and bought 500 kilograms of coal stone in one breath. 500 kilograms of coal stone were traded for a total of 6 strong horses, 20 skins, 5 adult female slaves, and 3 adult male slaves. Huge profits. Absolutely huge profits. As the saying goes, a good horse is worth 1,000 gold coins, and at this time, only 200 kilograms of coal can be exchanged for 6 adult strong horses that can be used to form cavalry. In the future, many tribes on the grassland will definitely regret the decision to exchange horses for coal stones. Jiang Li ordered his men to take down 5 baskets of coal stones weighing 100 kilograms from the carriage and put them on the ground. At the same time, he took away the goods used by the Wind Tribe for trading and then drove eastward. On the way to the next trading location, Jiang Li opened the map, dipped his finger in carbon ash, and drew a circle on the location of the Wind Tribe. This circle is a sign that the trade has been completed or will be sustainable as a trading target in the future. Qin Yu had explained it in advance. About 20 minutes later, the caravan arrived at the second trading location smoothly. Stone Tribe. The Stone Tribe is a medium-sized tribe with a population of more than 100 people. The tribal atmosphere is relatively harmonious, so the caravan once again reached a harmonious and loving trade. The Stone Tribe also traded 500 kilograms of coal stones. However, they all used horses, a total of 15 strong horses. The so-called strong horse actually means that the horse's bones are relatively strong, and the horse is still quite thin. After all, people in this era are not well fed, let alone horses. Secondly, the strength and thinness of the horse is also related to the forage. When the forage is lush, the horse is strong, otherwise it is thin. In ancient China, most of the foreign tribes chose to start their activities in the autumn, when the horses were fat, and began to invade the central plains. It has to be said that this makes sense. After the transaction was successful, the caravan set off again in a hurry and rushed to the third trading location. Since the two trades were very smooth, the caravan thought that the next time would be the same, but they did not expect that the tribe at the third trading location was ambitious and wanted to kill people and rob goods. When they saw the goods brought by the caravan, they wanted to kill people and rob goods, which was so sinister. However, the idea and starting point of this tribe were good, but it was still recommended not to set off. It was not so easy for the caravan led by Jiang Li and Yuming, two generals with explosive military power, to snatch the goods. The result was very realistic and skinny. Not only did the other party not snatch anything, but also lost a lot of people. Yuming and Jiang Li joined forces, not only repelling the enemy, but also capturing 5 adult males. This time, we traded 5 slaves without using a pound of coal. Yuming joked with a smile. Be careful next time. This time, thanks to the shield axe team for resisting the sneak attack, the stone spear team had the opportunity to counter-attack with javelins. Jiang Li sighed. You still have to be cautious when you go out. The grassland is too dangerous. You know, they sent 30 pounds of coal last time, but who would have thought that they would think of robbing it the next time they came? Fortunately, the subsequent trade was relatively smooth. The 3,000 pounds of coal was sold out in only 8 trading locations. Since the caravan's coal had been traded out, there was no need to go to the remaining 7 trading locations, and the caravan began to return directly to the Dragon Tribe. The caravan spent a night in the wild, fortunately without encountering any danger. The Dragon Tribe station. It had been 2 days since the caravan set out. Qin Yu had hardly eaten or slept well in the past 2 days. He had been looking forward to the caravan returning early and not having any accidents. Until noon today, when he heard the news of the caravan's return. His expression instantly became excited, and he hurriedly ran out of the tent. In front of the west gate of the dragon tribe. Ha ha ha, you two have worked hard this time. Eat something first, and then tell me about your harvest this time. Qin Yu laughed and pulled the two into the tribe, and then ordered the tribesmen to make some food. The two people in the tent devoured the food in the bowl. The caravan had not had enough food to fill their stomachs for 2 days outside, and they could only barely fill their stomachs. After eating, Jiang Li began to report the harvest of this caravan. 3,000 kilograms of coal and stone were traded for a total of 33 strong horses, 60 skins, 15 male slaves, 15 female slaves, 20 grassland sheep, 200 kilograms of food, and 80 kilograms of meat. 15 trading locations were visited, 8 of which failed, and 2 battles occurred, capturing 16 male slaves. Qin Yu was excited while listening. 3,000 kilograms of coal can be obtained from the veins in one day. Qin Yu estimated that the coal exposed on the surface for easy collection is about tens of thousands of kilograms, which is about dozens of tons. Just one trade trip brought 46 people to the dragon tribe, although 16 of them were captured. Now the population of the dragon tribe has exceeded 200 and reached 242 people. If there had not been that war with the Black Wolf tribe, the population of the tribe should be close to 300 people at this time. Qin Yu has been holding this breath in his heart. At this time, there is still a certain gap in the strength of the two sides. They are good at defending, but not good at attacking. Therefore, Qin Yu decided to develop for a few more days. Sorry for forgetting to update. Sorry. Chapter 30 Rapid Development. After counting the supplies brought back by the caravan, Qin Yu ordered people to move them into the warehouse. The 33 war horses traded this time, plus the ones the dragon tribe had before, add up to nearly 70 horses. As long as there is another trade, it will be possible to gather almost 100 war horses. When the snow melts and spring comes in the future, Qin Yu can start training a cavalry of 100 people. At that time, with the mobility of the cavalry, combined with weapons such as bows and arrows and spears, it may be a lie to say that they dominate the entire grassland, but there is no problem in dominating this area in the eastern part of the grassland. After all, this is the primitive age, and the so-called wars between tribes are sometimes like fighting. Both weapons and tactics are very backward. The concept of cavalry is at least advanced by hundreds of years, and this open and flat terrain on the grassland is like a no man's land. During the 2 days, when the caravan went out for trade, Qin Yu was not idle, and did a lot of things. One is to check the training of the new recruits, the second is to continue to order people to transport, or to the mountains and forests, and the third is to send people to the south, to inquire about the situation of the Black Wolf tribe in preparation for future wars. In addition, he also earned some civilization points, so that he could unlock some war technologies before the war came, thereby improving the combat effectiveness of the army. Time quickly came to the evening. Due to the rich harvest of the caravan, Qin Yu ordered people to take out the meat stored in the cellar and celebrate it. However, with the rapid increase in population, the consumption of food is also quite scary. Now one meal can eat up the food that the dragon tribe originally had for 2 or 3 days. After dinner, the dragon tribe gradually calmed down. Because a circle of tall wooden walls were built outside the tribe, the sense of security of the tribe members was greatly improved. However, the fact is that with the wooden walls, the safety at night has indeed improved. There are about 40 people responsible for night patrol every night. The 40 people are divided into 2 teams, guarding the first half of the night and the second half of the night respectively. During the 2 days, when Yuming was away, the patrol work was handed over to Ya. The next morning, when Yuming and Jiang Li learned that they were going to take the caravan out to trade again, their faces couldn't help but be bitter. Yuming sighed and said, "Headmaster, Liao Jiang and I just came back from 2 days of walking. Can't we take a break for 2 days before we go on?" Qin Yu said with a serious face. "Rest? There are wolves in front of our tribe and tigers behind us. Why don't you improve your strength as soon as possible and still want to take a break? Time waits for no one, not to mention that coal is only popular in winter. After winter, it won't be exchanged for such a high price. After Qin Yu's earnest teachings, the two of them were ashamed and immediately decided to set off to trade more coal. Qin Yu said that he was very pleased that the two of them could contribute so much to the tribe. In this way, the caravan of the dragon tribe was once again ready to set off. This time, there were more people than last time. Because of the previous example of wanting to rob goods, Qin Yu also sent more people for safety. This time, the Stone Spear team went with 30 people, and they were all new recruits. If they really encountered any danger, they would treat it as training. In addition, there were 10 Shield Axe team members, 20 archers, and 40 ordinary tribesmen accompanying them. Each of them held various weapons, and served as auxiliary troops to strengthen their momentum. Some malicious tribes would also weigh their own strength, and whether they could bear the cost after the looting. This trip carried a total of 4,000 kilograms of coal, 1/3 more than the last time. 8 carriages were used, and more goods could be loaded when they returned. Have a safe journey, and come back early. With Qin Yu's instructions, Jiang Li and Yuming set out on the trade road again. And when the two came back again, it would be the day for Qin Yu to show his hand. Time flies, like a white horse passing by. In more than 2 days, Jiang Li and Yuming led the caravan to visit the remaining 7 trading points. In the end, 11 of the 15 trading points were confirmed and could continue to trade for a long time. As for the remaining 4, they would be destroyed sooner or later. With the caravan's 2 trade trips, the reputation of the dragon tribe gradually became famous, and those who coveted profits would come to the door sooner or later. This is what Qin Yu hoped to see, but he was a little unsure whether the person who came to the door was weak or strong. However, with the current strength of the dragon tribe, even if the Black Wolf tribe sent out all the warriors, it would be impossible to capture this circle of wooden walls. After all, the Black Wolf tribe's 700 people can't all be soldiers, right? After waiting in the tribe for 2 days, Qin Yu finally waited for Yuming and the others to come back. Looking at the caravan behind the two of them carrying large and small goods as well as a lot of horses, cattle, sheep and slaves, Qin Yu couldn't help but smile. 4,000 kilograms of coalstone were exchanged for a total of 54 strong horses, 25 grassland sheep, 33 male slaves, 20 female slaves, 40 skins. In addition, they encountered 2 battles and captured 23 people. In this way, the population of the dragon tribe increased from 242 to 322. The number of horses also exceeded 100, so Qin Yu specially had someone build a horse farm. In the following 2 weeks, the dragon tribe began to change drastically. Jiang Li led a team of 100 people to cut down trees from the forest every day, and then used more than 20 horse-drawn carriages to transport the wood back and forth, greatly improving the transportation efficiency. Soon, the eastern part of the forest began to be plucked bare. The so-called to get rich first cut down trees. 10 warehouses for storing wood outside the dragon tribe are already full. In addition to cutting down trees, Yuming occasionally leads a caravan to trade around and occasionally harvests. In addition to training the archer team, Ya takes people out hunting. Now that the population of the dragon tribe has increased sharply, food is consumed in large quantities. At this time, the food previously stored can only be eaten for half a month. However, the cattle, sheep and horses raised have not been counted. If there is really no food, some sheep can be slaughtered to save the emergency. In addition, the tents in the tribe are gradually decreasing and slowly turning into thatched houses. This kind of thatched house is built with wood and hay. Compared with tents, it greatly improves comfort, safety and warmth. Each thatched house is about 30 square meters and can accommodate 5 tribesmen. Because it is only used for resting, the area is not very large. There are only 5 wooden beds and some simple daily necessities in the house. Secondly, in addition to the thatched houses, some wooden warehouses are also built to store various materials and military reserves. At present, more than 30 carriages have been produced from the carriage workshop for transportation and trade within the tribe. Secondly, for this era, carriages also have a strategic role. Therefore, Qin Yu gritted his teeth and spent 1,000 civilization points to unlock the production drawings of medium-sized carriages. Be sure to read the new book period. Chapter 31 War Preparations. Compared with small carriages, the production time and resources required for medium-sized carriages have doubled. It takes 20 hours of production to produce one carriage. If the carriage workshop is fully operational, it can produce 2 carriages every 3 days. This is because the tribesmen need to rest, so it is naturally impossible to work 24 hours a day. The medium-sized carriage is pulled by 2 horses and can carry a higher weight. Its space is much larger than that of a small carriage. If there are people on board, it can carry about 20 people. It can be used as an ancient troop transporter. Qin Yu was originally puzzled. 20 people can weigh nearly 2,000 kilograms. The load-bearing capacity of horses should not be that high, right? Then he suddenly realized the reason and couldn't help but laugh and call himself a fool. Horses pulling carriages are not actually load-bearing, but pulling carts. The weight of the cart cannot be converted to the same proportion of load bearing. Therefore, it is still easy for 2 horses to pull 20 people, but it may be a little crowded. Let's talk about the growth of the population of the tribe and the army in the past 2 weeks. After several trades, the population of the tribe increased from 322 to about 400, and most of the slaves in the tribe have been converted into tribe members. The proportion of male tribe members reached 60% or even 70%. This is all due to the capture of hostile tribes and trade population in the later period. Because female slaves can be kept to give birth to offspring for the tribe, and male slaves consume more food, and slaves are not needed to work in winter, many tribes will choose to trade these temporarily useless male slaves. In addition, the number of troops has increased. Among them, the largest number of people is the archer team led by Yap, with a total of 100 people. The power of a large-scale archer force is extremely terrifying, especially in this primitive era without long-range attack means. The 2 armies set up their battle formations, and the enemy is 100 meters apart. When the enemy rushes to the front of the 100-meter distance, the number of people may not even reach half. A distance of 100 meters is enough for an archer to shoot 10 arrows, and 100 archers means 1,000 arrows. Thousands of arrows cover a team of 100 people, and even if the accuracy is poor, it can take away the lives of half of the people. The second largest group, of course, is the Stone Spear team led by Yuming and Ji. In the past 2 weeks, Ji's injuries have completely healed, so Qin Yu appointed him as the deputy leader of the Stone Spear team. The leader Yuming has the most say. The number of people in the Stone Spear team reached 80, each wearing thick leather armor, holding a stone spear, and carrying 3 to 5 javelins on their backs. The general combat tactics are that when the enemy approaches within 30 meters, they will frantically fire javelins, and when the javelins miss, they will immediately rush forward with stone spears, which is enough to suppress the enemy. The leather armor worn by the Stone Spear team is made of the leather that the caravan traded. Generally, the most suitable material for making leather armor is cowhide. First, it is common and easy to obtain, and second, the cow's skin is very thick. Dehydrating it to dry and making it into leather armor not only has good defense, but also increases some flexibility. If there were not so many cowhides, Qin Yu would have wanted to equip the archer troops with leather armor. After talking about the Stone Spear team, the Dragon tribe only had the 3rd unit left. That is the Shield Axe team. The number of Shield Axe team has increased to 30. This is also thanks to the 2 primary winner gold coins Qin Yu obtained during this period, which happened to be coarse polishing agents. 20 bottles of polishing agents allowed the Shield Axe team to add 20 warriors. Its equipment has also been slightly improved. One is that the outer layer of the wooden armor and armor is wrapped with a thin layer of leather, which increases some defense and durability and warmth. The outer layer of the wooden shield is also added with a layer of leather, which greatly improves the defense and crack resistance. Qin Yu defined this type of soldier as a heavy destructive soldier, sacrificing a part of the flexibility to increase defense and attack power. Not only can it act as a shield soldier to resist the enemy's attack, thereby increasing the attack time for the long-range soldiers, it can also use a huge and sharp animal bone axe in its hand to split the enemy's formation. One axe down, if the crowd is dense, there will be a lot of casualties, and the power is huge. This is not like a stone spear, which can only stab one person at a time. The attack area of the animal bone axe should be considered a group injury. If there is enough polishing agent, the stone spear team will sooner or later become the bone spear team, and I believe the power can also be greatly improved. At noon on this day, there were 2 rows of people sitting in the newly built meeting hall of the Dragon Tribe. The so-called meeting hall is actually a slightly larger wooden house with a very primitive style. In the house, Qin Yu sat at the main seat at a low wooden table. Starting from 2 meters in front of him, 3 people sat on each side. There was a low wooden table in front of each person, and a bowl of goat milk was placed on the table. Everyone said that they could drink a sip if they were thirsty. It can be said that it is very humane, and this move is very considerate. Sitting on the left from front to back are Yap, Yuming and Ji. Sitting on the right from front to back are Jiangli, C2, and Xiao Yu. Obviously, the left side is a pure military commander, and the right side is more or less a mixture. C2 was recommended to Qin Yu by Yap, and now he is responsible for helping him share the internal affairs, managing the tribe, etc. C2 is about 40 years old this year, which is already considered an old man. After all, living to 50 is already a long life. After 2 weeks of Qin Yu's occasional teaching and learning experience, C2 has some internal affairs ability. Qin Yu also looked at his attribute board. There is not much special. The most outstanding thing is the intelligence of 3 stars. Secondly, he has a talent that has reached the upper level of class C. Practice what you have learned. Learning efficiency and comprehension are improved by 50%. Anyway, after 2 weeks of observation, Qin Yu thinks it is not bad. So C2 now appears in this meeting hall and sits in the second position on the right. Qin Yu has always had an impression of Xiao, who is sitting in the third position. When the Bloodhand tribe attacked for the second time, it was him who scouted and reported back. This kid's ability is biased towards military affairs, but he is not a commander or a fierce general who leads troops to fight. Instead, he has attributes similar to scouts and scouts. The agility of up to 4 stars makes this kid very fast. And after Qin Yu's observation, he found that agility is not a certain speed, agility in action, but in addition to agility in action, thinking and reaction awareness will be very agile. And secondly, even concealment has been improved, and it is not easy to be discovered by the enemy. Therefore, Xiao, who had just turned 14, was qualified to sit in the meeting hall and discuss matters with the tribe's chief and several leaders. Xiao had a team of 10 scouts under his command, all of whom were between 15 and 20 years old, and were very agile in running. Chapter 32, The Right Time, Right Place, and Right People. Every day, Qin Yu would send this scout team out to inquire about the surrounding tribes. Even the 4 tribes on the trade map that refused to trade and took the approach of plundering were clearly known. Qin Yu's idea was to attack these 4 tribes first. First, there had been conflicts, and they were like nails on the trade road, affecting the operation of the caravan. Second, they knew them well enough, and they had fought, and did not suffer any losses, which proved that the opponent's strength was limited, and the dragon tribe had enough ability to eat them. Now, they were making a plan before the war. After all, the dragon tribe was more than 50 miles away from the 4 attack targets, and the closest one was more than 10 miles away. Chief, I think we should give priority to attacking the nearest tribe, and it is best not to attack multiple tribes at the same time, in order to prevent the Black Wolf tribe in the south. Recently, they have been harassing our caravans, and every time the caravan goes out to trade, it will suffer certain losses. Yuming spoke first. I propose to go to war directly with the Black Wolf tribe. Ya said coldly. Yaoju died because Ya blocked the knife, so Ya had a great hatred for the Black Wolf tribe. Qin Yu looked at Ya and said seriously, the Black Wolf tribe and our dragon tribe have an irreconcilable hatred, but we cannot attack rashly because of this. The enemy's strength is superior to ours, so we should give the enemy a heavy blow after we have enough strength. The battle plan for the Black Wolf tribe will be placed after the plan to pull out the nails on the trade route. After conquering these 4 targets, we will attack the Black Wolf tribe with all our strength. Ya understands. Ya nodded and said nothing more. Qin Yu nodded with satisfaction, and then continued to discuss the battle plan with everyone. After a fierce discussion, everyone unanimously decided to take turns to attack. For example, the first target will be led by Yuming and Ji. The second target will be led by Jiangli and Xiao. The third target will be led by Qin Yu and Ya. First of all, the first target is the Earth Tribe. According to the intelligence of the scout team, the Earth Tribe is located about 22 miles west of the Dragon Tribe. The population of the tribe will not exceed 60 people, and the tribal warriors are about 30 people. The weapons are basically stone knives and stone axes. Chief, is it necessary to discuss with such a small tribe? Give me an hour, and I will beat them into surrender immediately. Yu Ming curled his lips and said. Qin Yu frowned and looked at Yu Ming and said, remember, you must never underestimate the enemy at any time. It is a taboo in military strategy to underestimate the enemy. If you only look at the surface and think that the truth of the matter is like this, it is really too stupid. The Black Wolf tribe is a profound lesson. In that battle, not only did old Yeo die, but 40 tribesmen also died, and the Dragon tribe was almost in danger of being exterminated. I hope everyone will keep this lesson in mind. Yes. The 6 people present responded in unison. Qin Yu nodded slightly and continued, knowing yourself and the enemy will ensure victory in every battle. Every time before attacking the enemy, you must make a decision after understanding the enemy. Before going out, we must also consider the 3 conditions of time, place, and people. Is the astronomical phenomenon suitable for our army to go out? Is the terrain favorable to our army? Is the morale of the army sufficient? Is the equipment and combat power able to fight the enemy? If the time, place, and people are all in our army, then we have 100% confidence to win. If we have 2 of the 3, we can choose to attack. If we only have 1 of the 3, then we have a 50% chance of winning. You will all be the generals of my Dragon tribe in the future. Please remember my words. Jiang Li, Yap, Yuming, Ji, Xiaoyu and even C2 all nodded, with admiration on their faces. The wisdom of the tribe leader is probably unmatched in the tribe and even on the grassland. Jiang Li admires it deeply, and I hope the tribe leader can accept it. Jiang Li looked at Qin Yu eagerly and said as if he had found a treasure. Qin Yu nodded and continued, as the saying goes, a lion will use all its strength to fight a rabbit. When the enemy is weak, and we are strong, we cannot underestimate the enemy. We must use all our strength to crush the enemy to death without leaving any spare strength to fight back. And when the enemy is strong, and we are weak, we should attack the enemy by 3 points, and keep 7 points for ourselves. We should be false and fake, and mix the real with the fake. We should confuse the enemy, and make them unable to see through us, so that they will be afraid to attack us with all their strength. Half an hour later, several people in the hall were fascinated, and had a lot of insights. Qin Yu had read military books for several years, so his storage and understanding in his mind were naturally very deep, but he did not say too much. After all, it is better to digest more than to talk more, and he knew the truth, that you can't chew too much. As for the battle plan against the 2 tribe, it has been thoroughly implemented. Tomorrow, the warriors of the Dragon tribe will set out to give this tribe that dares to challenge the prestige of the Dragon tribe a devastating blow. The next morning, a team of nearly 100 people gathered in front of the west gate of the Dragon tribe. More than 40 archers were dispatched, and more than 40 stone spearmen were dispatched. There were a total of 5 medium-sized carriages, pulled by 10 strong horses. The marching team was led by Yu Ming and Ji. Ji was wearing leather armor, and holding a stone spear at this time. The murderous look on his face was still there, but his sharpness and arrogance had been worn down a lot, and he didn't speak with a sword in his mouth. 2 leaders, all soldiers, safe journey, I'm waiting for you here. Come back triumphantly. Qin Yu stood on the platform and shouted at the team under the wall. I will definitely live up to the high expectations of the clan leader. I will definitely live up to the high expectations of the clan leader. I will definitely live up to the high expectations of the clan leader. The soldiers under the wall responded loudly with excitement. Qin Yu watched the team leave to the west and waved his hand with a smile. The right time, right place and right people have already taken one of them, so there should be no need to worry about this battle. Patriarch, are you doing this to boost the morale of the army? Jiang Li asked softly, standing beside him. Qin Yu nodded slightly, then got off the wooden platform and turned to leave. Jiang Li was left standing alone on the wooden platform, looking at the direction where the army left for a long time. I don't know what he was thinking. The cold winter has been over for more than half a month, and the temperature is particularly cold. However, the warriors of the dragon tribe felt a little strange at this time. They were still a little cold when they stood at the gate of the tribe just now. Now that the team is going out, it is not cold anymore. Maybe it's because of walking? Maybe so. But the real reason, I'm afraid only Qin Yu knows. This is G's talent, Frozen Earth Walker, taking effect. The weather, the place, and the people have already accounted for too, so why worry about not being able to win? On the frozen land, the snow is white, and 5 carriages are heading west. The sun hanging high in the sky is like a decoration in the cold winter, with no temperature at all. The astronomical phenomenon says that there must be one of natural disasters or man-made disasters today. The Witch of the Earth tribe slowly put down the hexagram stone in his hand, with doubts in his heart, and got up, and left to report the matter to the Patriarch of the Earth tribe. Please read, reward, and vote. Chapter 33 Raid. The chief is afraid that the sky will change, and the 2 tribe will face a disaster. The 2 tribe witch rushed into the tent in a panic. Disaster? The chief of the 2 tribe was startled, and quickly stood up to ask, is there a way to solve it? The witch lowered his head and shook his head. The god of Gua, this is a dead end. That is difficult to solve. Dead end. The chief of the 2 tribe looked dull. Where does the difficulty come from? Where does the difficulty come from? The voice paused. The chief of the 2 tribe turned his eyes to the man in front of him and said, a few days ago, you said that the god of Gua appeared in the world, and would give the 2 tribe a great gift. Let me lead the warriors of the tribe to ambush in advance. But the result? The disaster you mentioned today, could it be related to that incident? The witch was stunned, as if it was really possible. The 2 looked at each other for a long time and suddenly collapsed to the ground. Is the inheritance of the god of Gua going to be interrupted? No, the Gua is difficult to solve, not unsolvable. Let me calculate it again. On the snow-covered grassland, 5 carriages were constantly driving westward. How far is it to the destination? Yuming, who was sitting at the front of a carriage, asked the soldier who was driving beside him. Reporting to the leader, there are about 5 miles to the destination, and we will arrive soon. Yuming nodded and stopped talking. 20 minutes later, the carriage stopped 200 meters away from the 2 tribe. Everyone get off the car and be on guard. With Yuming's order, the dense crowd jumped off the carriage and soon formed neat rows of teams. Team 1, Team 2, investigate the outside situation and make sure there are no dangerous ambushes. Yuming commanded the team skillfully. 2 teams of 10 people were separated from the team of more than 80 people and began to conduct a carpet search around the outer area of the 2 tribe. After a long time, the 2 teams came back and reported, Leader, everything is safe around, no ambush was found. Yuming nodded. Everyone moved closer to the 2 tribe. With Yuming's order, everyone held weapons and began to move forward. Leader, there is no one patrolling or defending? The crowd gradually approached within 100 meters and looked ahead from a distance, but no one was seen moving. Could they have run away in advance? A soldier guessed. How could they have discovered it in advance? Yuming shook his head. Kill them. Ji said coldly. Don't be reckless. The more you are like this, the more careful you must be to prevent fraud. You have to take the tribe leader's instructions to heart. Ji. Yuming glanced at him and said. Humph. Ji snorted coldly and said nothing. Keep moving forward. If you encounter a sudden change, everyone will disperse the formation and don't gather together. Yuming ignored Ji and continued to issue orders. After a while, the crowd approached within 30 meters, but there was still no sign of anyone. Yuming was puzzled. Could there be any masters in this 2 tribe? He really couldn't understand it. It was weird, too weird. But he would not be scared by it. Archers are on guard at the periphery, and stone spearmen follow me to rush into the 2 tribe. With a command from Yuming, more than 40 stone spearmen burst into violent shouts, holding stone spears, and began to rush towards the 2 tribe. They arrived in the blink of an eye at a distance of dozens of meters. Yuming was holding a spear in his hand, and was ready to fight a bloody battle. He rushed in with his men, and then he looked at the scene in front of him, and couldn't help but be stunned. In the center of the 2 tribe, more than 60 people knelt on the ground. When the tribe leader and the witch saw someone rushing in, they immediately shouted, "We are willing to surrender. We are willing to surrender." Yuming and Ji looked at each other and were both stunned. Surrendering before fighting? How did they know we were coming? After a moment of silence, Yuming stopped Ji from wanting to kill a few people and began to pack up the two tribes' belongings and take them away. As for the more than 60 tribesmen, they were all escorted back. In this way, the dragon tribe's troops had just arrived at the destination and won the victory without a single soldier. This was something no one expected. The witch who was walking in the escort team wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. The man with a gloomy expression just now said something like killing a few people to interrogate the situation, which frightened him. Fortunately, someone stopped him. However, the original deadlock should be resolved, but the two tribe cannot continue and will become slaves in the future. As for the inheritance of the god of Gua, perhaps the two tribe will not die. The chief of the two tribes stood beside the witch and whispered coldly. The witch was stunned, then just shook his head, saying nothing. In the eastern part of the grassland, on the road named by Qin Yu as the trade road, a convoy of more than 100 people was heading east. This team was the one led by Yuming, the leader of the dragon tribe. At this time, the team not only had more than 60 people compared to when they came, but also had nearly 100 cattle, sheep and horses in the team. The frozen meat and grains added up to at least more than 1,000 kilograms, which was considered a big harvest. How far is it from our tribe? Look back, less than 10 miles. Yuming nodded. Speed up. The convoy drove for more than 10 minutes. Yuming felt uneasy, so he jumped off the carriage and led two teams of stone spearmen to surround the convoy to prevent any unexpected accidents. The cold wind was howling, and everyone squinted their eyes and walked forward with difficulty. Leader. There is a group of black shadows on the right. A soldier suddenly looked to the right and shouted. Yuming was stunned and looked up, then immediately ordered, enemy attack. One team is responsible for guarding the prisoners, the archers are ready to attack, and the stone spear team is ready to throw javelins. Yuming's eyes were fixed on the attacking team from the south. The dense group of figures seemed to have more than 100 people. Were they reinforcement invited by the two tribe? First deliberately surrender, secretly send people to ask for reinforcement, and then take advantage of the team's return to suddenly attack. Yuming's mind quickly sorted out his thoughts. Keep an eye on the captives. Anyone who dares to move will be killed on the spot. The cold words reached the ears of the two tribe, and everyone trembled with fear. The two tribe witch was sweating profusely. He looked at the two tribe chief in confusion and said, "Who are you calling? Aren't we the only one left in the two tribe? Where did the people come from?" The two tribe chief looked at the two tribe witch coldly. "You are an outsider witch. You only care about the continuation of the totem god, but never thought about the continuation of the two tribe. This is the reason. How could I tell you some things?" After the two tribe chief finished speaking, he closed his mouth. Once the supporting team rushed to the front, he would incite the tribe members to resist violently. At that time, the enemy team would be in chaos. Not only would they be out of danger, but they could also kill the enemy. Kill. Kill. Countless screams resounded through the sky. The reinforcement of the two tribe rushed forward frantically under the whistling rain of arrows. "Captain, the wind is too strong. It's hard to shoot arrows at the enemy. Sorry for getting up late." Chapter 34, The Witch of the Divination God. At this time, the cold wind was howling, and the archers were attacking against the wind, which greatly reduced the accuracy and range of the bows and arrows. At this time, they were suddenly attacked again. The enemy was superior, and we were inferior, and the morale of the team had obviously weakened. Yuming gritted his teeth, and held the spear in his hand, and shouted words to stabilize the morale of the team. At this time, they were really in a disadvantage. Just like Qin Yu said, the weather, the place and the people were not on their side, so how could they talk about victory? Even if they could win, I'm afraid it would be a miserable victory. However, Yuming and Ji, both of them were proud people in their hearts. How could they want to escape without fighting? Seeing that the enemy was gradually approaching, Yuming and Ji shouted, "Kill." As soon as the voice fell, everyone followed the two leaders with spears in their hands and rushed up. Ji's speed was faster than Yuming, leading everyone. The stone spear in his hand swept from the air and instantly cut the necks of the two enemies. Blood spurted out, and the two fell to the ground with their necks covered. Yuming was naturally unwilling to fall behind and thrust the spear in his hand hard, instantly piercing into the chest of an enemy. He quickly passed behind the enemy, quickly pulled out the spear, and then stabbed another enemy. Almost in the blink of an eye, the spear pierced the enemy's chest, and then pierced the entire spear through the enemy's chest, and stabbed into another person from behind. This action would make the enemy die in great pain. Imagine that the 2-meter long spear pierced through the chest, and the enemy screamed, as if he had been tortured. Of course, this method is not suitable for fighting, and Yuming did not always do this. Often the most practical techniques are simple. From stabbing out the spear, then quickly retracting it, swinging the spear to block the enemy's attack, and then stabbing it out again and quickly retracting it. It was just these few simple actions, and Yuming had already practiced it to a superb level. Soon, the number of enemies who died in front of Yuming increased, and at least more than 10 people fell to the ground. The ferocity of the two men could not affect the overall situation to a certain extent. The enemy's intention was very firm, that is, to approach the caravan and save the tribesmen of the Tu tribe. When the team of 100 people rushed to the front of the caravan 20 meters, more than 40 people had fallen. On the dragon tribe side, the loss of archers was very small for the time being, and more than a dozen people in the stone spear team fell. In order to prevent the archers from being slaughtered by the enemies behind them, Yuming quickly ordered the archers to disperse. When the enemy could not attack the archers, they quickly turned their attention to the tribesmen of the Tu tribe who were held on the ground. Seeing the opportunity, the chief of the Tu tribe immediately struggled to stand up and shouted, "Tribesmen, get up and resist these evil people who want to cut off the inheritance of our Tu tribe. The warriors in front are all our people. Don't be afraid to rush over and join them." With the encouragement of the chief of the Tu tribe, more than 60 people immediately struggled to stand up and wanted to rush over. After all, no one likes to be a slave. Puff. Seeing this, the surrounding stone spearmen began to ruthlessly stab the spears in their hands into the tribesmen of the Tu tribe who wanted to escape. Blood continued to pour out and flow onto the snow. One by one, the Tu tribe members, whose hands were tied, fell to the ground with their eyes wide open. The enemies who came to support them could not help but roar and kill them more frantically when they saw this scene. The scene was extremely chaotic for a while. The archers gradually moved back. The team of stone spearmen guarding the prisoners slaughtered the Tu tribe members while resisting the enemies rushing over. Soon, they were all killed. "Leader, we can't hold on any longer. Let's retreat," a soldier shouted. Yuming glanced at the situation around him. The archers did not suffer any losses, but due to the strong wind, they could not play a big role. There were only 20 stone spearmen left out of the original 40 or so, and they were all injured. Looking at the enemy again, the original team of 100 people was killed, and only 50 were left, but after rescuing the Tu tribe members, their number increased again. Just as Yuming gritted his teeth and considered whether to retreat, a white mist suddenly rolled up from the east. More than 20 small carriages carrying the warriors of the dragon tribe rushed over, rolling up large patches of snow and fog. The enemy turned around and looked terrified. "Retreat. Retreat quickly. The enemy's support is coming." The chief of the earth tribe shouted frantically. "It's too late. It's too late." More than 20 carriages quickly surrounded the battlefield, and 70 to 80 people rushed out of the carriages in an instant. "If you drop your weapons, you won't be killed. If you drop your weapons, you won't be killed." The sudden change stunned the enemy. Seeing that there was no chance of winning, the enemy was immediately discouraged and had no courage to resist. Jiang Li walked up slowly with a huge bone knife that was sharpened to a very sharp point on his shoulder. "Organize the team and return quickly to prevent any accidents. Everything will be discussed after returning to the tribe." As soon as Jiang Li finished speaking, everyone started to move. All the captives were tied up again with ropes. After the team was organized, the convoy drove slowly, and the hundreds of captives at the back were pushed forward. The sun moved to the west, and the cold wind gradually dissipated. On the 5 or 6 meter high watchtower in front of the west gate of the dragon tribe, a soldier looked at the slowly approaching convoy and immediately walked down the tower to report the situation. "Open the gate." Yap, who was standing on the wooden platform, ordered immediately. With the order, the west gate slowly opened. Yuming and his men led the convoy slowly through the gate and into the tribe. At this point, the fate of more than 100 captives was completely determined. Go, go. Several soldiers pushed the 3 captives into the wooden house for the meeting. Qin Yu was now clear about the cause and effect. He stared at the chief of the Earth tribe with cold eyes and said, "What confidence do you have to provoke my dragon tribe?" The chief of the Earth tribe raised his head and looked at the man in front of him and said coldly, "Your dragon tribe is so tyrannical that it won't let people live. Sooner or later, the gods will bring disaster upon you." Ha ha ha. Qin Yu couldn't help but laugh angrily. "I won't let you live?" The caravan of the tribe passed by earlier and sold coal and stone that could help people survive the cold winter to you. Does this mean you won't let people live? What about you? You actually intended to rob and kill many of us. I think you are the ones who are tyrannical and unreasonable. No need to say anything. Just drag him out and chop him off." Qin Yu said coldly. "Sooner or later, the gods will bring disaster upon you. You evil man." The chief of the Earth tribe roared angrily while being dragged out. After a long time, the shouting and cursing outside the house stopped suddenly. There was only a scream, and Jiang Li's big knife swung down hard, and then the head of the chief of the Earth tribe fell to the ground, and he died with his eyes open. "What are your identities?" Qin Yu ignored the screams outside the house and looked at the remaining 2 and asked. 2 people knelt on the ground. One of them gritted his teeth and said nothing, looking like a tough guy. One of them was wearing linen clothes and looked quite old, with a little cold sweat on his forehead. After a long time, he suppressed his inner fear and slowly said, "I'm a witch from the 2 tribe, a witch who believes in the god of hexagrams." Today's second update. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Tribal Treasure House. Divination God. Qin Yu asked in confusion as he sat in front of the high platform. Ask, tell fortunes, predict good and bad luck, calculate fortune and misfortune, 1 tortoise shell and 3 hexagram stones, both 3 times before the hexagram, pray to the gods. We did know in advance that the dragon tribe was going to attack the earth tribe, but I learned it from the hexagram given by the divination god. And the only way out of the deadlock is to surrender, which is also what the hexagram said. As for the ambush behind, it was all planned by the tribe leader alone, and we knew nothing about it. I would like to dedicate the inheritance of the divination god to your tribe. Please accept it. The old man took out a grey booklet from his arms and raised it high with both hands. Yuming, who was standing by, saw this and picked it up and handed it to Qin Yu. This is a book made of the hide of an unknown animal. Qin Yu just opened a few pages and received a prompt. Congratulations on obtaining the ancient magic turtle treasure divination art civilization points plus 3000. Qin Yu was stunned and didn't care how many civilization points were added. What the hell is the ancient magic? Ancient? Where did the ancient times come from and the primitive times? Qin Yu was puzzled. Did this world have a history of civilization? Then it experienced a great extinction and returned to the primitive times? Ancient magic. Obviously, the giant world Qin Yu was born into must be extraordinary. He originally thought it was just an ordinary world. Thinking carefully, it seems that some tribes believe in totem gods, and they all have strange abilities. Earth tribe, Gua god, Black Wolf tribe, Wolf god, Grizzly tribe. Maybe there is also a bear god. Qin Yu has been traveling through this world for almost a month, and he has learned about the surrounding tribes. The Earth tribe can predict the future, which he just learned. The Black Wolf tribe can drive black wolves, which he saw with his own eyes, and the Grizzly tribe can drink bear blood to increase their physique and height, which he once learned from Yeoju. Today's incident was only because the other party learned about the disaster from the hexagram, which almost caused the dragon tribe to suffer heavy losses. If the scout team had not come across it by chance when they were out on a reconnaissance mission and had not come back to report the situation in time, Qin Yu would not have been able to send people to support in time, thus avoiding losses. Qin Yu shook his head. It seems that he has to be more careful when attacking other tribes in the future. Fortunately, these abilities did not appear as perverted means such as waving to summon thunder, blowing away 3,000 soldiers in one breath, etc. Qin Yu continued to look through the hexagram book for a while. The words recorded on it gave him a feeling that he seemed to be able to see, but could not understand. After flipping through it for a long time without any results, he put it down. Arrange a wooden house for this two tribe witch. Send people to protect him twice a day, and as for the rest, let's talk about it later. Qin Yu decided the fate of the witch in a few words. It must be useful, but Qin Yu did not intend to spend his energy on him for the time being. After the two tribe witch was taken away, the only one left in the meeting hall was the leader who had led 100 people to support the two tribe. Qin Yu looked at the man on the ground and asked, "Which tribe are you from?" The man did not say anything after hearing it. Qin Yu was stunned. He didn't want to talk anymore, so he waved his hand and asked someone to take him down. Use some tricks. Aren't there red hot wood and coal stones? Burn him twice and ask all the questions you need to ask. Yu Ming's face changed after hearing this. He felt that it was a bit cruel. Chief, I think it's more appropriate to let Ji do this. Then let Ji do it. Qin Yu waved his hand after hearing this. The people in the room gradually dispersed. Qin Yu watched everyone leave and raised his hand to see 2 gold coins appear in his palm. The 2 battles encountered by the tribe today brought him 2 primary winner gold coins. In a trance, Qin Yu appeared on the cliff again. He threw the gold coins in his hand forward with ease. The 2 gold coins turned into golden streams and fell into the pool, causing ripples. Then 2 rays of light, one white and one green, rose into the sky and fell into Qin Yu's hands. You consume 1 primary Victor gold coin. To obtain rough polishing agent *10 white quality, you consume 1 primary Victor gold coin. To obtain silver moonbow green quality, rough polishing agent, sprinkling it on tools and weapons can increase a certain degree of firmness and sharpness. Rough polishing agent is only effective for stone and bone weapons and tools. Silver moonbow. It took a master bowsmith 3 years to carefully make it. It is a rare and excellent bow. The silver moon bow is a straight pull longbow with 20 iron-plated silver arrows. The range can reach 150 to 200 meters. It is very practical and ornamental. Qin Yu's consciousness moved, and his surrounding vision returned to the wooden house. This time the reward is not bad. The shield axe team can increase 10 more people. The second is this silver moon bow. It is warm and cool to the touch, and the surface is silvery white. Qin Yu tried to pull the bowstring. It really looks like a half-circle silver moon, which is quite beautiful. It is very suitable for ya. I will give it to her when she has made a contribution. Qin Yu stood up and walked out of the meeting hall with the silver moon bow and the quiver containing 20 silver iron arrows, and then came to another wooden house. The wooden house is about 30 square meters in size. It is guarded by 10 tribal warriors. No one can break in without Qin Yu's order. Chief. The soldiers guarding around saluted respectfully. Qin Yu nodded and pushed open the door of the wooden house and walked in. There was nothing special in the house. There were 5 rows of wooden shelves similar to bookshelves. Only the first row of these 5 rows of wooden shelves had something on it. 40 small porcelain bottles containing Baiyu soup filled the first layer of the first row of wooden shelves. The second layer was 2 wooden boxes, one of which contained the white booklet recording the Baiyu soup prescription, and the other contained a small golden shovel. Both of these items were taken out by Qin Yu from the civilization Xianqi. As for the ring-headed knife on his waist, he did not put it here, but kept it for self-defense. He placed the silver moon bow and arrows on the 3rd layer of the wooden frame, then found a box to put the animal skin book containing the turtle treasure Guaziangshu in, and then place the box on the 2nd layer. Since the civilization Xianqi did not have the ability to store items, and Qin Yu could not carry all these precious things on his body, this tribal treasure house was built. He even sent 10 old warriors to guard it. As a magical medicine that can bring the dead back to life, Baiyu soup is naturally qualified to be put in. Today, more than 20 people in the team, led by Yu Ming, suffered some injuries, big or small. If it were in the past, almost half of them would die. But after drinking Baiyu soup, everyone's injuries have improved, and they are out of danger. This is the horror of Baiyu soup, which is comparable to having a famous doctor. The disadvantage is that it is difficult to collect medicinal materials in winter. Chapter 36, Expanding Territory. It can be said that some of them are useless, and I'm afraid that we need to wait until the beginning of spring before we can continue to look for medicinal materials. After putting the things away, Qin Yu got up and walked out of the wooden house. Looking at the tribal warriors around him, he said a few words. It must be strictly guarded. The things here affect the future of the tribe. Don't let anyone in without my order. Subordinates understand. Everyone responded in unison. Qin Yu nodded and turned to leave. In the meeting hall, Chief, Lord C2 wants to see you. A warrior in leather armor came in and reported. Okay. Qin Yu nodded slightly while sitting in the main seat in the hall. The wooden door of the hall is a double door, which is open at this time. The animal skin curtain hanging on the door blocks the cold wind outside. C2 pulled open the curtain and walked in shivering. The 4 bonfires in the hall were burning red coal stones. The cold soon dissipated, and C2's old face gradually became ruddy. I'm C2, your subordinate, and I pay my respects to the chieftain. C2 bowed slightly and saluted respectfully. Qin Yu nodded and said, there is no need to be polite, Elder C, just speak directly. Yes. C2 bowed and continued. Now the population of the tribe has exceeded 500, including the group of prisoners brought back by Lord Yu this morning. The space inside the wooden wall can no longer accommodate so many people. Secondly, if the current development speed of the tribe is maintained, the population will sooner or later exceed 1,000. Therefore, I suggest that the wooden wall be expanded outward to an area large enough for thousands of people to live in. Qin Yu nodded thoughtfully. What Elder C said makes sense. In this case, let's revise the recent battle plan, draw up a new construction plan, and have someone invite several leaders to the meeting hall. After a long time, the several low tables in the hall were gradually filled with people. Qin Yu first looked in the direction of Ji and asked, did that man get anything out of him? Ji was stunned for a moment, then grinned and said, I have asked everything I should ask, and said everything I should say. That tribe is located in the southwest. They are the real 2 tribe, and the one we attacked is just a branch tribe. The real 2 tribe does not have a witch. The witch took the initiative to find their tribe, and out of caution, the original 2 tribe chief separated a part of his tribe and took the witch to establish a branch tribe. The 2 tribe chief who died later was the son of the original 2 tribe chief. Qin Yu nodded. No wonder the other party risked his life to save people. It turned out that he was the chief's son. But now the 2 tribe chief has been beheaded, and the dragon tribe and the 2 tribe have also become enemies. This hidden danger is the same as the black wolf tribe, and it needs to be eradicated as soon as possible. What about the population of that 2 tribe? There are more than 300 people in total. Now most of the warriors have died. It is estimated that there are only women and the elderly, weak and disabled, left in the tribe now. Chief, let me go and destroy them directly, to get rid of your worries. Seeing Ji's hopeful request, Qin Yu refused mercilessly. Living people are always more valuable than dead people. Ignore them for now, and catch them later. The current rapid population growth in the tribe also has some hidden dangers. In addition to food and housing problems, people's hearts have not settled down yet. Therefore, I decided to cancel the war plan temporarily and redraft the construction plan and training plan for each team. The war plan will be implemented after the first 2 plans are thoroughly implemented. First, Jiang Li's shield and axe team will increase by 10 people to a team of 40 people. I have ordered people to put the weapons and equipment in the tribal treasury. You can go and get them directly. Jiang Li understands. Qin Yu nodded and continued. The number of people in Yaz Archer team will remain unchanged for the time being, stable at about 100. And the number of the Stone Spear team led by Yuming and Ji will be increased to 150. The new recruits will be selected from the tribesmen and slaves in the tribe. We understand. Yuming and his companions responded. Qin Yu nodded, picked up the goat milk on the table, and drank a mouthful. His thirsty throat instantly felt much better. After putting down the wooden bowl in his hand, he continued, regarding the plan for military training, in addition to a part of your own performance, in addition to the inherent physical training, endurance training, and strength training, we will add command training. Command training means that the commander issues a command, and the troops under his command must achieve the goal of completing this command quickly and neatly at the same time to meet the qualified goal. For example, the simplest formation, retreat, assembly, and some simple attack commands, stabbing, retreating spears, raising shields, archery, etc. The training time is temporarily set at 10 days. At that time, I will review it. Whoever's team under your command can satisfy me the most, I will give this leader the same generous reward. Qin Yu took off the ring-headed knife from his waist and placed it on the table. Clang, a cold light flashed in the tent, immediately attracting everyone's attention. Qin Yu pulled the knife out of the scabbard with the handle in his hand, and the silver white blade glowed with cold light. Everyone looked at the ring-handled knife made of tempered steel on the table and thought about their own bone weapons and stone weapons. It was like comparing a pile of poop with gold. The reward will not be less than my saber. Everyone should encourage each other. Qin Yu's words instantly made several leaders feel hot in their hearts. Even someone like Ji who likes long weapons like stone spears would find it hard not to love a very sharp short blade like a heavenly soldier. After discussing the training plan, Qin Yu turned the topic to the construction plan. I will briefly talk about my ideas for the construction plan. If you have any opinions, please feel free to raise them. Qin Yu glanced at everyone and then said, I plan to expand the wooden wall by 200 meters in each direction of the southeast, northwest, and northeast. This project is very large, but it must be completed within 15 days. C2's eyes were dull, and then he quickly said, Chief, is this expansion distance a bit too far? After all, such a large area is enough to accommodate 5,000 or even 10,000 people. In the primitive era, there was no separation of households yet. The tribe arranged everything in a unified manner. Basically, a 30 square meter wooden house could accommodate 5 to 10 people. Therefore, an area of tens of thousands of square meters is enough for 10,000 people to live. The distance is just right. There is no need to talk about this. Today, the team of more than 100 slaves who can work will all be sent to the mountains and forests to collect wood and then transported back and forth by carriage. Call a construction team of 100 people from the tribe. If the number is not enough, temporarily draw some veterans to help with the construction. In this regard, everyone did not make too many comments on the main plan, but only gave some suggestions on various more subtle tasks. After all, Qin Yu is the patriarch of this tribe. They can only make suggestions on the direction of the tribe's development, and the final goal direction is decided by the patriarch. Please read, vote, and comment. Chapter 37 Military Parade. The distance from the east gate of the dragon tribe to the eastern forest is about 5 or 6 miles. At this time, the entire dragon tribe was very lively, and the shouts of the army could be heard from several training grounds from time to time. The training of more than 100 people was enough to make people's blood boil, and their expressions shocked. At this time, Yap, Yuming, Ji, and Jiang Li were all working hard to train their respective teams. Since the Stone Spear team had 2 leaders, one team was divided into 2 teams, and Yuming and Ji each trained 75 people. The reason why several people worked so hard was not only for such an unknown reward, but also represented the recognition of the tribe leader and the ability ranking among several people. Whoever won the first place on the day of the review would greatly increase his prestige and status. In addition to several training grounds, the construction team outside was also very busy at this time. The original 4 wooden walls of the dragon tribe were not demolished, but were planned into the inner city. In the future, the inner city will gradually be transformed into a work area. Buildings such as the tribal treasury, meeting hall, chief's residence, bow and arrow workshop, carriage workshop, training ground, etc. will be planned in the inner city. The outer city is the living area of the tribesmen, as well as the military camp. In addition to expanding the wooden pile wall in 4 directions by 200 meters at the same time, there are countless wooden platforms, watchtowers, and arrow towers to be built. However, the construction team will give priority to building the wooden wall, which will be completed within about 15 days. After all, with a continuous supply of wood, it is not impossible for a construction team of 100 people to build 4 200-meter long wooden walls within 15 days. On the road leading to the eastern forest of the dragon tribe, there are more than 30 carriages driving back and forth to transport the wood needed to build the wooden wall. At this time, the trees on the edge of the eastern forest had already been plucked out, and the collection team of the dragon tribe could only slowly cut wood deep into the forest. Bang, bang, bang. In the 100-man gathering team, 2 people in each group cut down a tree at the same time. Under the continuous chopping of 2 stone axes, the thick tree was shaking. The 2 people quickly stopped, threw the axe on the ground, and turned to pull the thick rope that had been tied to the treetop. The already shaking tree was finally knocked to the ground under the continuous pulling of the 2 people, and a large piece of snow and fog was smashed. After a little processing of the fallen tree, the 2 people lifted it on their shoulders and slowly sent it to the carriage under the forest. Each carriage will set off to transport back to the tribe. After carrying about 20 pieces of wood, more than 30 carriages came and went to transport a large amount of wood back to the tribe. At this time, a team of primitive people wearing animal skins in the depths of the forest were quietly observing the actions of the people in front of them to cut down trees. If they keep cutting like this, the whole forest will be bald sooner or later. Do you want to take people to drive them away? A small man frowned and said. The man beside him was stunned and interrupted quickly. Are you crazy? The dragon tribe is on good terms with our Panshan tribe. They cut wood to burn coal. If we don't let them cut wood, how can we survive the winter? Oh, is that so? Okay. The short man suddenly realized. The team just observed for a moment and left in a hurry. Time flies, and 10 days have passed in the blink of an eye. The outer city wall of the dragon tribe has been completed for the most part. Only the east wall has not been completed yet. But today is the day Qin Yu agreed to review the army. In the inner city, Qin Yu looked at the 4 square teams in front of him and couldn't help showing a satisfied look on his face. From left to right, there are Jiang Li's shield and axe team, a total of 40 people, wearing wooden leather armor, holding wooden leather shields in their left hands and animal bone axes in their right hands, standing in 4 rows with stern expressions. To the right of the shield and axe team are the 2 stone spear teams of Yuming and Ji. Speaking of training soldiers, Yuming's ability and experience seem to be better than others. The 75 stone spearmen he trained all stood upright, looked calm, and held their stone spears straight in their right hands. The stone spears looked like a neat army. However, the army trained by Ji was a little worse than that of Yuming. Of course, it was just a superficial look at the moment. The rightmost row was the 100 archers trained by Ya. Since these 100 people were all tall women, they seemed to be more attractive and visually impactful than the other teams. In just 10 days, these troops in the tribe changed a lot. Qin Yu didn't know how much their combat power had increased, but the improvement in order was far from what it had been before. If the dragon tribe warriors used to be like bandits, now they can be regarded as regular troops. Discipline plays a big role in this. The so-called real elite troops do not necessarily have high combat power or good equipment. As long as they can enforce discipline, they are elite troops. Even if an excellent commander leads a team with poor equipment and low combat power, but is obedient enough, he will not think of leading a team with poor discipline, high combat power and good equipment. An army that follows orders can become the most convenient sharp weapon for the commander, and an army without order, no matter how powerful it is, will only be like an arm with polio that is forcibly attached to the commander. During these days of training, Qin Yu did not skimp on the distribution of food, and all meat was sufficient. The effect was also very significant, and the muscles of the soldiers could be seen to be obviously bulging. Can the tribe leaders review begin? Jiang Li rubbed his hands and couldn't wait to show the results of these days of training. Yes. Qin Yu nodded slightly. As Qin Yu's voice fell, Jiang Li led the team into the training ground of the shield axe soldiers. Qin Yu and several leaders climbed onto the high platform built in advance to observe the situation in the training ground. Line up. A loud shout. The soldiers in the training ground instantly gathered together and formed 4 rows of 10 people in each row. The first row, move forward. Raise your shields. Bang, bang, bang. The 2 orders came down, and the soldiers in the first row responded at the same time, taking 3 steps forward in neat steps, and then quickly raising their shields in front of them. The first row retreats, the second row charges with shields, and then strikes with axes. As Jiang Li's orders were given, the first team of soldiers quickly retreated from both sides, while the shield axe soldiers of the second team held their shields in front of them and charged forward until they hit the straw targets in front of them, and then the 10 of them swung the animal bone axes in their right hands and chopped at the necks of the straw men. Clatter, clatter. Following a burst of tiny sounds, a row of straw men's heads fell down in unison. The third team, step forward and raise your shields. The second team, evacuate quickly. The words fell again, and the second team of soldiers immediately passed through the gap between the third team of soldiers. Sorry for posting late. Sorry. Chapter 38 Rewards. Qin Yu couldn't help but applaud after watching this set of tactical exercises. From shield defense to ramming attack, to covering retreat, the whole process was very smooth. This team can already be called elite soldiers in the primitive era, whether it is equipment, physical fitness or orderliness. Not bad, it can be of great use. Qin Yu praised generously. After the shield and axe team retreated, it was the turn of Yu Ming's stone spear team to start the demonstration. A total of 75 people walked into the training ground in an orderly manner. Prepare javelin. As the voice fell, 75 soldiers drew a javelin from their backs and held it in front of them at almost the same time. Shoot. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Dozens of sharp javelin instantly pierced the straw man target in front of them. Then everyone drew a javelin from their backs again and held it in front of them waiting for orders. Prepare for 3 consecutive javelin shots. Shoot. Yu Ming issued an order again. Everyone immediately threw their javelins in front of them and then quickly threw 2 more javelins. The dense and fierce rain of javelins pierced the straw men in the front area into hedgehogs. Raise your spears. Charge. Stab. Stab. Stop. Change to the second team. After nearly 20 minutes of demonstration, Qin Yu could see that the strength of the stone spear team had improved a lot compared to before. The movements were uniform, and even though they had nearly twice the number of people as the shield axe team, their orderliness was not inferior to that of the shield axe team. Very good. If Yao and Ji didn't have anything that could impress me, I believe you would be the first this time. Qin Yu smiled and looked at Yu Ming and said, I dare not be arrogant. Yu Ming bowed and led the team out of the training ground. It was Ji's turn to demonstrate next. Most of the 75 soldiers trained by Ji were new recruits, and their orderliness and neatness were much worse than those of others. But the only thing that impressed Qin Yu was that this team had a hint of murderous and violent aura. This may have a lot to do with the character of the main General Ji. With the demonstration lasting nearly half an hour, Qin Yu could feel a fierceness, a murderous aura and ruthlessness revealed in the momentum of the army. In this case, we will take advantage of this review to separate the 2 teams and let Ji lead a stone spear team alone. To be honest, it is a pity to let a 5-star potential god general like Ji be a deputy leader. At least Qin Yu thinks it is a pity. But after observing for this period of time, Qin Yu feels that he can appropriately release the restraint on Ji and let him show his skills and abilities. Yes, the team trained by Ji has a special momentum. Although the discipline is poor, it can have greater potential in certain areas. In this case, we will take advantage of this review to split the stone spear team into 2 and each of you will lead one. In addition, I suggest that Ji's team can give up the javelin and add a shield to fully develop close combat capabilities. Of course, it is up to you to decide whether to change it. When you think about it, you can go directly to the armament warehouse to get a batch of shields. Qin Yu smiled and looked at Ji and said. Ji's eyes flashed with surprise. He raised his hand and said respectfully, thank you for your help, Patriarch. I will lead this team to clear all obstacles for you. Qin Yu nodded. He knew that Ji was a proud and power-loving person who was unwilling to be under someone else for a long time. Since he had the ability, why not help him? Now that Qin Yu had the power, he no longer had to be as cautious as before. A population of at least 500 people was considered a medium-sized or even large tribe in the eastern part of the grassland. In the primitive times, even large tribes had a population of only about 1,000 people, and a relatively stable food source was a difficult task. And the large tribes on the grassland must have a lot of cattle and sheep. Shaking his head, Qin Yu began to watch the military parade seriously. At present, only the archers under Ya have not practiced yet. Qin Yu also wanted to see what tricks the archers could play. Ya walked off the stage silently and led a team of 100 archers into the archery training ground. Draw your bow. Free fire. Following the command of a cold female voice, hundreds of archers quickly drew arrows from the quiver behind them and put them on the bowstrings, hooked 3 fingers, and shot the arrows out. Hundreds of archers began to repeat this action continuously, shooting sharp arrows at the straw man in front of them. You should know that all these 100 archers are women, and being able to shoot arrows for a long time proves that their arm strength is not low. Ya couldn't help but smile. She had put a lot of effort in the training for 10 days. Stop. Swish. The 100-man team was silent in an instant, and everyone stopped their actions in unison. Prepare for 3 consecutive arrows. Shoot. As the voice fell, everyone instantly drew 3 arrows from the quiver and put them on the bowstrings, and then pulled the bowstrings hard to shoot forward. I see. Qin Yu looked at the scene in the training ground and suddenly realized. No wonder there were dozens of rows of straw men in the archery training ground. There is almost no accuracy in shooting 3 arrows in a row, but there are many of them. If the enemy is gathered together in large numbers, then the archer team that has mastered the 3-arrow combo can cause damage that is nearly 3 times greater than its own number. However, it seems that due to the short training time, the effect of the 3-arrow combo is not so amazing. The range is reduced, the arrows are scattered, the penetration is reduced. These shortcomings all appear together, but the concept is good. At least Qin Yu is very satisfied. With more training, the archers under Ya will definitely produce great power. The drill is not over yet. Qin Yu continues to watch. Stop. Aim at the first 3 rows of the enemy. Shoot. Swish. Everyone quickly drew their bows and shot arrows. This time the drill was more orderly than before. Everyone's movements were almost consistent, pulling the bows and arrows to the same mark. Then there was a whizzing sound of breaking through the air. Hundreds of arrows instantly and accurately covered the straw men in the first 3 rows, and only a few arrows fell further away. Target, the left front area of the enemy. Shoot. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless arrows once again accurately covered the straw man in the left front area, turning it into a hedgehog. Good. Qin Yu couldn't help but shouting in surprise, and then he applauded generously. This is the kind of army he wants, that can serve as the commander's most convenient sharp blade. After the review, the leaders of each team stood under the high platform. Qin Yu glanced down and finally stopped his gaze on Ya. I think you have guessed the result of this review. It's Ya. Only an army that can clearly and accurately complete the commander's orders and plans is a good army. Someone, go and get the bow in the treasure house. I'm done. Sorry, I'm catching up on the new book period. Chapter 39 Planning. Chief, the bow is here. A warrior raised the bow and the 20 silver iron arrows above his head. Qin Yu nodded and took it, then taught it to Ya. Ya looked at the beautiful silver bow in the chief's hand, and her eyes flashed with surprise and love. The bow is green, while the 100 forged steel ring-headed sword on Qin Yu's waist is only white. Its value is obvious, and even Qin Yu doubted whether this bow would have any attribute bonus. It's hard to say. Everyone looked at Ya taking over the exquisite and beautiful bow that seemed to be the work of nature, and their faces showed envy. It was like a poor classmate in the past suddenly won a lottery and appeared in front of them in a Rolls Royce. They also wanted to have it. Qin Yu looked at the expressions of the people below and couldn't help but smile. There are rewards and punishments. In the future, when it comes to major events in the tribe, I will reward the outstanding people and punish the clumsy people so that we can encourage everyone. The project of the outer city of the tribe will be completed soon. There will be no shortage of wars in the future. I will also reward the person with the highest merit. As Qin Yu's words fell into the ears of the crowd, the eyes of several people were filled with passion, and they wanted to lead the team to kill the enemy immediately. After a morning of inspection, Qin Yu dismissed everyone and asked them to patrol and train. Qin Yu went around the dragon tribe to inspect the construction of the wooden wall, arrow tower, and watchtower. Wolf tribe station. Snowflakes fell from the gloomy sky, and the cold wind whistled and blew the tents constantly. How are you thinking about it? 7 or 8 tribe leaders from various tribes gathered in a tent that was not very spacious. There was a bonfire burning in the tent, and there were some black stones that were burned red. Everyone wrapped in coats and warmed themselves by the fire, slowly dispelling the cold. My Black Wolf tribe joins. The Black Wolf tribe chief, who sat in the first seat, was a tall, strong man with fierce eyes. I heard that the dragon tribe is not only powerful, but also friendly with the Panzhan tribe. I'm afraid it's not so easy to attack. One person said. If the Panzhan tribe dares to intervene, then my Black Wolf tribe will send at least 300 people and wolves. The Black Wolf tribe chief gritted his teeth and said fiercely. It was because of the Panzhan tribe that the Black Wolf tribe suffered heavy losses last time, and he must avenge this. The warriors of my Earth tribe suffered heavy losses, but in order to be able to take revenge, our tribe will send at least 100 people. The Earth tribe chief said angrily. Seeing that the chiefs around him were still hesitating, the chief of the Black Wolf tribe could not help but roll his eyes and then bewitched. You all know that the dragon tribe can make coalstone, right? Coalstone can keep a tribe warm through this cold winter, and it is very valuable. After conquering the dragon tribe, distribute the tribesmen who can make coalstone to you. After you have the method of making coalstone, you can use the coalstone to exchange weapons, food, cattle and sheep with other tribes. I have inquired about the caravans of the dragon tribe. They can bring back hundreds of cattle and sheep every time they go out. Seeing that several chiefs of the tribes around him had been shaken, the Earth tribe also bewitched. There is also that kind of carriage that moves very fast. I believe there is also a method to make it. If you get it, it will be much more convenient to travel, and it can also transport supplies. There was silence in the tent for a moment, and soon several people were overwhelmed by the benefits, and nodded in agreement. What's more, they are not the main force, they just follow to drink some soup, and it seems that the risk is not that big. My Blackstone tribe joins with 50 people. My Sheep tribe joins with 80 people. My Feather tribe joins with 50 people. My Vine tribe joins with 100 people. Seeing that the tribal leaders in the tent finally compromised for the sake of interests, the leader of the Black Wolf tribe couldn't help but feel ecstatic. He stood up and looked at everyone, patting his chest vigorously. We will win this battle. Everyone go back and prepare the team these days, and then bring people together in the Black Wolf tribe and destroy the dragon tribe. My Black Wolf tribe will not let you take women, cattle and sheep. Ha ha ha. Black Wolf tribe leader, then we will go back to the tribe and wait for your news. Yes, we will go back and prepare first. Goodbye. Goodbye. Everyone bowed to each other and quickly walked out of the tent. After the people in the tent left one after another, only the Black Wolf tribe leader and the Earth tribe leader were left. The plan to unite several tribes to attack the dragon tribe was thought up by the two of them. The Earth tribe suffered heavy losses last time, and the number of warriors in the tribe is small. So after asking around, they found that the dragon tribe had fought with the Black Wolf tribe, so they came up with this idea. So far, everything has been going well. I just made a rough estimate, and it can probably gather about 700 people, which is more than the total population of the dragon tribe. The dragon tribe will soon become history. The chief of the Earth tribe said with a smile, stroking a tuft of beard on his chin. The Black Wolf chief also had a smirk on his face. This time, he could not only avenge his brother's son, but also drag the Panzhan tribe into the water and weaken their strength. Dragon Tribe Station. Now that 15 days have passed, the newly expanded 200-meter outer city wall has been officially completed. However, there are still many wooden platforms, arrow towers, and watchtowers close to the city wall that have not been built. According to Qin Yu's plan, a 3 meter to 5 meter wooden platform will be built every 2 meters on each wall. Since the fence is made of wood piles, the significance of building wooden platforms is equivalent to turning the fence into a city wall, so that soldiers can stand on it to attack the enemy outside the wall. The number of arrow towers is about 1 every 5 meters. According to statistics, the number of wooden platforms to be built is estimated to be more than 100, and the number of arrow towers to be built is estimated to be more than 80. According to this workload, it may take more than 10 or 20 days to complete. The construction of wooden platforms is relatively simple, but the arrow towers are a little more troublesome. Secondly, in order to move all the tribesmen to the outer city, many wooden houses need to be built in the outer city area. Since the population of the tribe is only more than 500 people, the area of the newly established outer city area is very spacious, so Qin Yu arranged the area of the northern outer city as a livestock enclosure. If it is placed outside the city, it is easy to be disgusted by the enemy. Qin Yu has a deep experience of this point after playing many real-time strategy games of farming hegemony. What blows up your agricultural buildings to destroy food output, burns livestock farms to destroy meat output, and without food, you can't recruit soldiers, which is very disgusting. Therefore, even if the reality is not as easy to operate as in the game, Qin Yu still doesn't want to experience that possibility. Sorry for posting late. Chapter 40. The omens are not good. In a 30 square meter wooden house, the old man, who was originally a witch of the two tribe and now named Yi, knelt in front of the table. On the table was a tortoise shell and 3 stones with strange symbols. Yi poured the stones into the tortoise shell, muttered something, and closed his eyes. An invisible black and white energy penetrated into the tortoise shell. Dragon tribe, the future. Dragon tribe, the future. A mysterious and obscure murmur came from the old man's mouth. Yi shook the tortoise shell in his hand and then poured out the stones. As the hexagram appeared, a few more wrinkles appeared on the old man's face. The hexagram says, a great disaster is about to occur. Wolf. It can be solved. With that, Yi quickly got up and dragged his old body out of the house. Take me to see the tribe leader. The old voice reached the ears of the 2 soldiers who were responsible for guarding the door. Please wait here for a while, I will go to inform. A soldier bowed and turned to leave. In the meeting hall, Qin Yu flipped through the animal skin map in his hand. This was the result of the scout team's work these days. It marked the locations of nearly 20 tribes in the eastern part of the grassland. Some of the tribes were described in great detail, such as population, cattle and sheep, military strength, distance, etc. There are still 2 months before the end of the novice period. Qin Yu didn't know what kind of challenges and dangers there would be after the end. But it was this kind of ignorance that would double the fear and worry in people's hearts. Therefore, Qin Yu could only develop madly in the remaining time to deal with unknown dangers in the future. As the old saying goes, a cunning rabbit has 3 burrows. In addition to the base camp of the dragon tribe, Qin Yu also planned to build a camp at the bottom of the valley in the mountains and forests just in case, leaving a way out for the future. Chief. The curtain of the wooden door was suddenly lifted, and a warrior holding a stone spear walked in and saluted. Qin Yu nodded slightly. Get up. What's the matter? It's that witch. He has something to ask you. Yi. Qin Yu was stunned and then said, bring him here. After a moment, Yi dragged his old body and walked slowly into the hall. Greetings, Chief. Yi bowed. Qin Yu smiled and looked at the old man below and asked, I heard you were looking for me. What's the matter? I asked the god of divination for the dragon tribe. The old voice echoed in the room. Qin Yu's eyes lit up, and he became interested and said, oh, Elder Yi, tell me in detail, what is the hexagram? The hexagram says that the dragon tribe will have a great disaster. If they survive this disaster, they will be like a fish leaping over a dragon gate and soaring into the sky. If they can't survive, they will be like a dead grave, and the dragon tribe will be destroyed. The hexagram mentions wolves, and that this disaster can be solved. Qin Yu nodded. The wolf mentioned should be the black wolf tribe, and if it can be solved, it means that the dragon tribe can deal with it with its current strength. But this is just his guess. What Qin Yu didn't expect was that the book could really give people the ability to predict the future. Qin Yu couldn't help but ask, how old is Yi this year? Yi bowed and said, reporting to the tribe leader, I'm 36 years old this year. Qin Yu was stunned. The wrinkles on Yi's face were probably more than those on the 50-year-old Yao. Perhaps seeing Qin Yu's doubts, Yi smiled and explained, if you want to know the future from the mouth of the god of divination, the price is the future. Qin Yu nodded. He lost interest in the turtle treasure hexagram technique that actually consumed his life. You can go back. I have already figured out this matter. After this crisis is over, I will grant you a wish. Yi, thank you, tribe leader. The old man knelt excitedly. Then he left the meeting hall with the support of the tribal warriors. Qin Yu immediately responded to this matter. First, he increased the number of patrols in the inner and outer cities, and ordered the scout team to keep an eye on the movements in the south, and inquire about the situation. The number of scouts has grown to 20 at this time, and Xiao, who is the captain, who has made great contributions. Recently, the caravan of the dragon tribe has not gone out to trade for a long time. The coal and stone transported back from the bottom of the valley have piled up into a small mountain. Qin Yu estimated that there are more than 40,000 kilograms. Therefore, Qin Yu plans to eliminate the 3 tough guys on the trade road after dealing with the crisis this time. In addition, he can expand the trade target. There are 2 months left in the novice period, and he plans to focus on quickly improving his strength. The next morning, after breakfast, the dragon tribe is still busy building various buildings and facilities, and a team arrived at the east gate of the outer city of the dragon tribe. There are more than 100 people in the team, and about 100 of them look like slaves. We are sent by the leader Li of the Panshan tribe to trade coal and stone with the dragon tribe. Jiang Li, who is responsible for the security patrol of the east gate, stood on the wooden platform and swept his eyes to the faces of the people below one by one. After seeing a few familiar faces, he responded loudly, "Only 10 people are allowed to enter the tribe, and the rest of the people are waiting at the door." No problem. As the east gate slowly opened, the leading man led 10 warriors into the tribe. "Follow me," Jiang Li said softly. The man nodded and followed Jiang Li with the warriors around him. During this time, several people looked at such a vast wall, the elite soldiers standing on the wooden platform, and the towering and majestic arrow tower, and they couldn't help showing surprise on their faces. "I remember that the dragon tribe was not like this last time I came. It has changed a lot." The man sighed. "Yes, thanks to the chief's good decision making, the dragon tribe can flourish." Jiang Li also sighed. "Ask yourself, who on the entire grassland can quickly develop a small tribe into a large tribe within a month?" He is now convinced, and he has long lost his rebellious heart. Following such a talented master to create a hegemony, he has no regrets in his life. Jiang Li led several people from the outer city to the inner city. When the soldiers stationed on the wooden platform saw that the visitor was the leader of the shield and axe team, they asked about the situation and immediately ran to inform the chief. After a while, the east gate of the inner city slowly opened, and Jiang Li smiled and invited everyone in. The man looked around and couldn't help but sigh in his heart at the strict security here. "Inner city, meeting hall. I'm from Panshan tribe. Chief Li asked us to come to trade coal with Long tribe." The man bowed and looked at the majestic man sitting on the stage with a little curiosity in his eyes. Qin Yu nodded slightly. "Recently, Long tribe has burned a lot of coal and has a lot of storage. How much does Panshan tribe need this time?" The chief means 100 slaves for 2,000 kilograms of coal. This is the price agreed before. "No problem. Someone will deliver 2,000 kilograms of coal to the east gate of the outer city later, and the transaction can be done there," Qin Yu said with a smile on his face, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. "Please read it later. If you don't read it during the new book period, it's like growing flowers without watering them." Backquote. Chapter 41 City Defense Technology. 2,000 kilograms of coal for 100 slaves. How cheap it is. On Blue Star, 2,000 kilograms of coal is 1 ton, which can be bought for only 1,000 yuan. If you convert it a little, 1 slave only costs 10 yuan. Of course, the difference between them is huge, and it cannot be generalized. Qin Yu was just sighing for a moment. He stood up and took out a bone necklace from his arms and asked the warrior next to him to pass it to the little leader of the Panshan tribe. "This was once given to me by Lord Li. My scouts have sent me news that the Black Wolf tribe will attack the Dragon tribe in the near future, and they hope to get support from your tribe. For this reason, in addition to the 2,000 kilograms of coalstone in normal transactions, I will also give 500 kilograms to the Panshan tribe separately, which has proved a deep friendship between our two tribes." The man below hurriedly took the necklace and said, "You are polite. I will tell Chief Li when I go back. I believe that the reinforcement of the Panshan tribe will arrive within 2 days. Ha ha ha. I will definitely welcome you warmly and send you delicious food. Jiang Li, please send this brother off well. The 2,500 kilograms of coalstone must be sent to the east gate of the outer city." Jiang Li understands. Jiang Li bowed his hands and turned around to lead everyone out of the hall. Qin Yu looked at the backs of the few people leaving and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. With the reinforcement of the Panshan tribe, this crisis will be easier to overcome. "Brother Jiang Li, goodbye." The man bowed his hands and prepared to leave with a team of more than 50 people carrying coal stones. Wait a minute, I'll ask someone to send a car to take you there. Jiang Li interrupted and immediately arranged 5 carriages. Watching the cart pulled by horses slowly approaching, the man's eyes were dull. The dragon tribe actually developed such a strange thing. Watching the baskets of coal stones being put into the carriage, the man also boarded the carriage with the others. Have a good trip. Jiang Li waved goodbye. The leading man of the Panshan tribe sat in the carriage and watched the groom in front of him steadily driving the carriage eastward. He felt a sense of novelty in his heart. At the same time, he always felt that the dragon tribe seemed very powerful, as if there were many things that their tribe did not have. Well, very powerful. Chief, most of the 100 slaves traded in the new trade are adult men and women, and male slaves account for about 70%. Jiang Li walked into the meeting hall and reported. Qin Yu nodded. In primitive times, female slaves were generally more valuable because they could give birth to offspring for the tribe and develop the population. Qin Yu hoped to have more male slaves to form an army. Chief, what do you think of the arrangements for these slaves? Jiang Li spoke again after a moment. Well, female slaves will be arranged to make various military supplies, and male slaves will be sent to the gathering team and the construction team. In addition, we may be attacked by other tribes recently, so gather all the male tribesmen in the tribe, except the army, and train them for 2 days. Just use them as reserve soldiers. If the army can't hold on, we can have a backup plan. Qin Yu thought for a while and replied. Chief, you are wise. I will arrange it right away. Jiang Li bowed and turned to leave. Looking at Jiang Li's back as he left, Qin Yu's consciousness moved, and a light curtain appeared in front of him. As the war approached, he wanted to use all the remaining civilization points to unlock war technology. War technology tree, city defense, strong gate I, effect, increase the strength of the city gate by 5%, unlocking requires civilization points x100, military, iron armor I, iron armor second effect. Increase the strength of the army's armor by 3%, unlocking requires civilization points x200, military strategy, dodge I, effect, increase the dodge attribute of the army by 1%, unlocking requires civilization points x100. Currently unlocked technology, iron armor I, physical fitness third, injury recovery third. Currently effective attributes, increase the strength of the army's armor by 1%, increase the physical fitness attribute of the army by 10%, and increase the healing speed of the army's injuries by 10%. Qin Yu glanced at the remaining civilization points, a total of 3,500 points. 3,000 of them were given by the turtle treasure Guaziangshu. Now facing the enemy attack, Qin Yu plans to spend some civilization points to unlock some city defense technologies. First, he clicked on Strong Gate 3 times in a row. 600 civilization points disappeared instantly. City defense technology, Strong Gate has been fully unlocked. The current effect is in effect. The city gate's solidity value is increased by 20%. City defense technology I is a 5% increase, second is a 10% increase, and 3 is a 20% increase, which is much higher than the military technology and military technology. After the Strong Gate is fully unlocked, the next technology is Strong Wall. Strong Wall I, the solidity value of city walls, fortifications, etc. is increased by 5%. Qin Yu thought about it and clicked 3 times in a row. City defense technology, Strong Wall has been fully unlocked. The current effect is in effect. The solidity value of city walls is increased by 20%. The 3,500 civilization points were instantly reduced to only 2,300 points. After the Strong Wall is fully unlocked, the next technology is Defense. Defense I. The physical attributes of the defending army are increased by 5%, unlocking required civilization points x300. Qin Yu tried to click 3 times in a row, which scared him. Defense I. 300 civilization points, defense second. 600 civilization points, defense third. 900 civilization points. Qin Yu looked at the civilization points that dropped to 500 in an instant and instantly regretted his quick move. However, although it costs a lot, the attributes are really high. After fully unlocking, it will increase the physical attributes of the city defending army by 20%, which is twice the physical technology. The sum of the two is 30% of the physical attributes. It is estimated that the degree of improvement will be very high. With the remaining 500 civilization points, Qin Yu silently clicked on the dodge technology twice. In the end, only 200 civilization points were left out of the 3,500 points. It really fits the saying that money is spent like water. But the effect is also considerable. Physical technology, increase physical attributes by 10%. Injury recovery technology, increase the healing speed of injuries by 10%. Iron armor technology, increase the armor strength value by 1%. Strong gate technology, increase the gate strength value by 20%. Strong wall technology, increase the wall strength value by 20%. Defending technology, increase the physical attributes of the city defending army by 20%. The combined effect of various buffs is very impressive, and it will be reflected in the battle sooner or later. In the future, the gap between players and local forces will only get bigger and bigger. After all, this kind of technology tree is only owned by players, and the attributes that can be increased are very considerable. The gap between the two will only get bigger and bigger. And if he guessed correctly, there should be a farming technology tree and a construction technology tree. This appeared when he first filled out the questionnaire, but he didn't know how to get the other two if he chose one. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Great Achievers. The Panzhan Tribe's Residence. The quiet forest is covered with a thick layer of snow. From time to time, the sound of avalanches and bee straws can be heard in the deep forest. A cliff located on the mountainside is the residence of the Panzhan tribe. This is the work of nature. There are nearly 100 caves carved in the cliffs hundreds of meters high, with a total of more than 10 steps from top to bottom. Behind the cliff is a flat area, which is the working area of the Panzhan tribe and a place where the slaves live. Only the tribesmen of the Panzhan tribe can live in those caves. The higher the status, the higher the living, while the slaves can only live below. The Panzhan tribe is surrounded by mountains in the east, and there are tall wooden walls in the west, south, and north to prevent wild beasts and enemy attacks at night. The entire tribe, if counted as slaves, has about 800 people. This is still in winter. If it is in the summer and autumn, when the population is the most prosperous, the population of the Panzhan tribe can grow to thousands. At this time, in the cave at the top of the cliff, several primitive people are discussing something. It has been confirmed that the Black Wolf tribe is indeed planning to attack the Dragon tribe. A tall and strong man with firm features, long arms and hair combed behind his head was standing in the center of the cave and spoke. The tall and thin man at the side narrowed his eyes and said in a bad tone, "Lee, my Panzhan tribe is not a good group of people. You promised to help them, and you will help them? Aren't you playing with the lives of the tribal warriors?" An old man sitting in front of the stone table coughed lightly and said, "Lee, as the chief of the Panzhan tribe, you must be trustworthy. What's more, the Dragon tribe saved my little daughter. I agree to lead the team, to support the Dragon tribe this time." Lee bowed and said, "Chief, in fact, the most important thing is that the Black Wolf tribe is the main force in this plan, to attack the Dragon tribe. If I can defeat the Black Wolf tribe this time, it will be regarded as eliminating a hidden enemy for the Panzhan tribe." The chief of Panzhan sat in front of the stone table, stroking his beard while listening. After thinking for a moment, he nodded and said, "You are right, but don't let the tribe's warriors lose too much. You can bring a few Hualu to participate in the battle." Hualu, homonymous with Huahui. Lee shook his head. "No need, chief. The Huali don't like to go out in winter, and are difficult to control. I will only take our 100-man team. Protect their safety, go." The old voice of the Panzhan chief sounded slowly. Lee bowed and turned to walk out of the cave, walking down the stone steps to the bottom of the mountain. Looking at Lee's leaving back, the Pan's hand chief raised his eyelids and looked at the tall and thin man standing on the right and said in a light tone, "GUI do, be careful in everything you say and do so that you can protect yourself. Remember who gave you your status." The Pan's hand chief's vigorous and powerful voice seemed to ring a warning bell on the man's head. Lee is a good leader, kind, righteous, loyal, trustworthy, and talented. Even I'm a little jealous of him. If he were my son, he would definitely be the next chief of Pan's Han tribe. It's a pity that he is not, but as long as he is here, Pan's Han tribe can be guaranteed to prosper for decades. Therefore, I never want anyone to dare to challenge the future of the tribe. GUI Do leaned down and listened quietly. After a long time, he whispered, "GUI Do understands, Chief. You take a rest, and I will withdraw." The tall and thin man turned and left the top cave and went to another cave. The burning bonfire illuminated the dark cave slightly. As soon as GUI Do came to the entrance of the cave, he heard a sound of men and women having fun from inside. He sneered secretly and then slowly walked in. "Second Prince," GUI Do called softly. The man on the stone bed was startled and quickly drove the female slave on the bed out. The tall female slave ran out of the cave with a panicked face holding the animal skin clothes she took off. "Hey, Chief GUI, do you have something to ask me?" the man asked in a deep voice. "The old patriarch wants to make your eldest brother the next patriarch and let Lee assist him. At this time, Lee has already gone down the mountain with his own troops and will not be back for 2 or 3 days. This is a good opportunity." "Who are you referring to, Second Chief? How can a man who accomplishes great things value his brothers?" "Long Tribe Station. Lord Lee, the tribe has prepared a place for your tribe's warriors to rest, and the patriarch has also personally set up a banquet. Please come and have a gathering." In the outer city, in front of the east gate, Jiang Li came to greet him in person with his team. Lee nodded with satisfaction and then took 2 people to follow Jiang Li all the way. The team of 100 people he brought was all arranged in the outer city area. As Lee followed Jiang Li into the inner city, everything he encountered on the road shocked him. How big was the dragon tribe when he came last time? How many people were there? Looking at it now, it is really unimaginable. The dragon tribe is developing too fast. Looking at the patrolling soldiers, he could feel that their fighting power was definitely not bad. There were more soldiers that could attack the enemy from dozens of meters away than before. Could he take down the camp with his tribe? The answer was no. At least it was impossible for the more than 100 people from his own tribe to take it down. If the Pan's Han tribe attacked with all their strength, it might be possible, but they would also suffer heavy losses. He really didn't know how the Black Wolf tribe had the courage to attack the Dragon tribe. Didn't they come to check the situation before attacking? It's not impossible. If they didn't check, they wouldn't be able to get the news of the plan back. It doesn't seem simple. Lee became more cautious and continued to move forward. Dragon tribe, inner city, meeting hall. At this time, the 2 rows of low tables in the hall were full of people. "Lord Lee is willing to personally lead a team to help our dragon tribe. I'm very grateful. Chief Long, you are too polite. I always keep my word. Since I have promised, I will never regret it." Qin Yu laughed. "I can tell what kind of person Lord Lee is just by looking at his face. He is very righteous. The journey is long. Lord Lee must be hungry. Someone, please serve the food." As soon as the voice fell, more than a dozen tall female tribesmen came in from outside the hall with wooden plates and bowls and placed the things in their hands on the table one by one. Qin Yu had previously found a time to teach the tribesmen some delicious recipes under limited conditions. This move can be said to benefit everyone and himself. Qin Yu's food level has risen a lot since then. After a while, the food on the table was ready. Roasted venison, hot goat milk, steamed grain cake, slate deer intestines, boiled lamb chops, lamb legs stewed with potatoes, pan-fried venison, roasted lamb kidneys. There were nearly 10 tables in the hall, each with a portion placed in turn. The aroma was so fragrant that everyone couldn't help but drool. Lee was also staring at the food on the table with great anticipation. "Chief Long, what is this round thing with a strange smell? Please read and vote for the monthly ticket. Can you please give 2 coins in each paragraph? Increase the number of fans." Chapter 43 ready to go. Lamb kidneys are good for men, as they help them stay healthy and refresh their spirits. Qin Yu explained with a smile. When everyone heard this, they took the sizzling kidneys from the plate and took a bite. There were not too many seasonings. Before roasting, they were just soaked in red ginger water for a while to remove some of the fishy smell, and then they were roasted on the stone slab. When they were crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, some coarse salt was sprinkled on them. It tasted crispy, tender, and fragrant, and there was a slow aftertaste in the mouth after swallowing it. This was what everyone thought after tasting it. Qin Yu did not react so much. After all, the lack of chili powder, cumin powder and garlic, which are flavor enhancers, is equivalent to the lack of a lot of souls. However, the people in the audience ate with satisfaction. They never thought that food could be so delicious. You have to know that the primitive people now still have the experience and habit of eating raw meat and drinking blood. For them, food is just something to provide energy for the body to survive. I never thought that this is a kind of delicacy that can make people enjoy pleasure. The roasted venison cut into cubes is fresh, mellow and fragrant, and the thinly sliced fried venison is tender and salty. Steamed multigrain cakes are soft and fragrant, while hot goat milk is mellow and sweet. Boiled lamb chops and stewed leg meat are also tender and juicy, leaving a lasting aftertaste. After a full meal, Qin Yu began to talk about business. Lordly, the people in this room are all leaders of my dragon tribe. We should get to know each other about the teams and leaders of both sides of the defense. Li nodded and said, Chief Long has considered everything. In the following time, Li and Jiang Li, Yap, Yuming, Ji, and Xiao Yu all got to know each other. The 100 warriors that Li brought were all wearing animal skins and holding stone knives. Their equipment did not look very good, but they had very high combat experience and were all elite soldiers and veterans. Jiang Li led 40 shield axe soldiers. Yuming led 75 soldiers equipped with stone spears and javelins. Ji led 75 shield spearmen. Ya led 100 archers. Xiao Yu led 20 scouts, who had the advantage of being agile and swift, and could quickly transmit the battle situation on the battlefield. After understanding the strengths and weaknesses of their respective armies, everyone began to discuss the defense issue. The enemy will definitely attack the west and south walls, so we should put the main force in the southwest. Yuming proposed. Agree. The others nodded. Although the enemy will give priority to attacking the walls close to them, it is not ruled out that they will go around and attack the weakly defended areas, so the number of garrisons on the east and north walls cannot be too small. Qin Yu rubbed his chin with the knuckles of his right hand. After thinking for a moment, he continued, Lordly, the team you lead this time is the most flexible. Why not divide 50 people to garrison the east and north walls, 25 people on each wall? Li thought for a moment and nodded. No problem. The east and north walls are actually the safest, so Li readily agreed, which can avoid the loss of his team to a certain extent. Secondly, there will be 40 archers there to assist in the defense. Xiaoi will be in charge. Remember that your main purpose is to defend and prevent the enemy from attacking. Yes, Chief. Xiaoi bowed. Qin Yu nodded slightly and began to assign the defense troops of the other two walls. The south is definitely the enemy's main attack direction, while the west should be slightly weaker. The number of troops in the dragon tribe is about 300, and the total number of troops, including the 100 people from the Pantan tribe, is 400. According to Qin Yu's understanding of the surrounding tribes, this is definitely a rich battle, and the number of people cannot be too different, unless they send all the old ladies and old men to fight. The dragon tribe is not weak in terms of number, weapons, elites, and morale, so Qin Yu is not too worried about this battle. But he was not less cautious. Jiang Li, Yuming, the two of you are responsible for guarding the south gate. In addition to your respective teams, there will be 30 archers, a total of more than 140 people who must guard the south wall for me. Jiang Li, Yuming, I obey your orders. Qin Yu nodded and continued, Yap, Ji, you two are responsible for the west gate of the outer city. The pressure should be less. Remember, the purpose is defense. No one can rush out of the city without my order. Yap, Ji, I obey your orders. The two said in unison. Qin Yu looked at Li again and said, Lordly, your team is more flexible. Just patrol back and forth on the south and west walls. Once you encounter an attacking enemy, kill them on the spot without deliberately leaving any prisoners. Lee nodded. I understand. Xiaoyu's scouts will stay in the inner city. One will be my guard and the other will be my messenger. Each wall has a smoke tower built by my order. It is filled with fesses and hay. Once the enemy on that wall is too fierce, and it is difficult to defend, light a cigarette immediately. I will adjust the troops to support them appropriately. Send 2 scouts to each wall. Report the battle situation to the inner city meeting hall every once in a while. You can drive a carriage when necessary, which is faster. Can you explain the various matters, to pay attention to one by one? Everyone nodded in succession, to show that they understood. This time the preparations were very sufficient. Once a battle broke out, the tribesmen and slaves in the outer city would be summoned into the inner city. Once the outer city wall was lost, the army could retreat to the inner city. Moreover, Qin Yu also made another preparation, a militia of 100 people. This is an emergency militia formed by some male slaves and stronger female slaves in the tribe, who are trained for a few days. Once a crisis comes, Qin Yu will issue weapons in case of emergency, and maybe he can save the situation. In the following 2 days, the dragon tribe was on high alert, and the remaining arrow towers and wooden platforms were completed one after another, and the slaves in the tribe stopped going out. Now the population of the dragon tribe has exceeded 600 people, including the slaves traded with the Panzhan tribe last time. In addition to the 100-man team brought by Lee to support, how much food do 700 people consume in a day? At least 1,000 kilograms. Since Qin Yu came to the dragon tribe, he has led the dragon tribe to plunder and trade, and the food he has saved so far is only enough for about 10 days. Of course, there are still many cattle, sheep and horses in the northern part of the city, and cattle and sheep can be slaughtered if there is a lack of food. But Qin Yu was reluctant to give up any of them. Horses are as valuable as gold, and are essential for training cavalry. As for cattle, they will be the key players in the future of the agricultural era, so Qin Yu was reluctant to give them up. Sheep are okay, but the wool collected is really warm. Please read it again. Please read it again. Chapter 44. Let's start with an appetizer. The vast grassland was covered with snow and the cold wind was howling. The few scattered trees that were still standing had been cut down by some tribe to make fires for warmth. The clear blue sky and the blazing sun made people shiver, even though there were no snowflakes falling. At this time, people were swaying in the Black Wolf tribe, and teams were constantly gathering here from other places. In the chief's tent, everyone sat around a stove made of stones. There were chiefs from 7 tribes in the tent, and they all came to participate in the plan to attack the dragon tribe. Everyone wanted to get a piece of the pie, and the size of the pie depended on who brought more warriors and who made greater contributions. In this war against the dragon tribe, the Black Wolf tribe sent the most troops, with more than 240 adult male warriors and more than 130 adult black wolves. The second is the Rattan tribe, with 120 people wearing rattan-wood armor, holding stone axes, stone hammers, stone knives and other messy weapons. Just the rattan-wood armor alone, the combat power of the warriors of the Rattan tribe can be ranked among the best. The third is the Earth tribe. The chief of the Earth tribe has tried hard to pull out a team of 100 people, also with messy weapons, wearing animal skins. Except for the large number of people, the others do not agree. Maybe they can compete with the militia of the dragon tribe. The other 4 tribes, the Sheep tribe sent 80 people, the Blackstone tribe sent 60 people, the Feather tribe sent 60 people, and the Sand tribe sent 50 people. The warriors of the 7 tribes, including the Black Wolf of the Black Wolf tribe, counted more than 800 people. The entire Black Wolf tribe was filled with people, and dozens of bonfires were lit for everyone to keep warm. In the tent, several chiefs continued to discuss the plan to attack the dragon tribe. My people have already figured out the situation of the dragon tribe. They have built a circle of wooden stakes to surround the tribe, making it difficult for us to attack. The Earth tribe chief spoke first. The chief of the Black Wolf tribe smiled and said, "Don't worry, I know everything better than you do. I have ordered people to get some long wooden boards. When the time comes, as long as we put them on the wooden wall, our soldiers will be able to step on the wooden boards to attack the wall." The eyes of the other chiefs lit up, and they smiled and said, "Chief Black Wolf is really resourceful. We admire him." Chief Black Wolf was quite pleased with the compliment. He showed a satisfied expression and continued, "The distance between the Black Wolf tribe and the Dragon tribe is not close, so I think we should bring some tents, food, wood, etc., and build a temporary camp near the Dragon tribe. In this way, even if we can't attack it for a while, we can rest in the camp for a while before attacking. I have prepared these things including food in advance." I agree. Chief Black Wolf is talented. Okay, everyone, hurry up and organize your tribes, and start moving towards the Dragon tribe. After the voice fell, several chiefs did not say any more nonsense, and began to go out one after another to gather their respective teams, and start marching towards the Dragon tribe. Looking at the backs of the crowd, Chief Black Wolf couldn't help but sneer inwardly. A bunch of stupid things. My Black Wolf tribe has sent the most troops. How can we not want anything? But what we want is not the Dragon tribe, but all of you. The chiefs of the other 6 tribes had not yet realized that their allies had not started fighting, but they had already set their sights on them. For the Black Wolf tribe, it would be best to take the troops of the other tribes to attack the Dragon tribe. If they cannot, they can consume the strength of the Dragon tribe and weaken the strength of the other tribes. At that time, it will be easy for the Black Wolf tribe to annex anyone. It must be said that these guys who live with wolves are as fierce and cold as wolves. The so-called those who are close to vermilion will be red, and those who are close to ink will be black. May have some truth, but this truth seems to be cross-species. Dragon tribe station. Chief, what are they doing? Yuming looked at the place more than 200 meters south of the tribe, where a group of primitive people were busy setting up tents, which made him feel a little confused. They are quite smart. They know they can't defeat us in a short time, so they want to set up a camp for rest. Qin Yu changed his usual appearance at this time. He stood on the wooden platform of the south wall, wearing red leather armor, a wooden leather helmet, and his right hand on the handle of the ring-headed knife at his waist, staring at the enemy's movements in front of him. The whole person looked like a confident and well-planned commander who defended the city. His height of more than 1.8 meters was outstanding among the primitive people. Now he was wearing armor and holding a weapon, which added a bit of temperament. It's not difficult to win this battle. The only thing we need to worry about is how many Black Wolves from the Black Wolf tribe will come. Qin Yu looked at the primitive people in front of him with lax military discipline, and he felt confident. Yuming nodded and said, "Those Black Wolves are indeed difficult to deal with. They are too fast, and their fangs and claws are also very sharp. But with your arrangements, they will probably suffer a lot. Haha, I'm looking forward to it." Qin Yu smiled. It was just noon, and the enemy camp had already been built. Although it was called a camp, it was actually not defensive at all, and could only be used for rest and eating. It seems that the Black Wolf tribe hasn't arrived yet. Qin Yu observed for a long time, but did not find any trace of the Black Wolf. It seems so. Yuming also looked carefully and then responded, "That's perfect. Let's serve them an appetizer first, and have someone pull out the 10 medium-sized archer carriages that I modified. By the way, let Yali deity archers to gather at the south gate of the outer city." Qin Yu stared at the enemy camp in front of him with burning eyes, and said, "Yes." Yuming responded, and then got off the wooden platform, and turned to leave. The people of the Dragon tribe had already prepared for war, so they acted very quickly. In 10 minutes, Yal led 80 archers to quickly gather at the south gate. At the same time, the 10 carriages, that looked no different from ordinary medium-sized carriages, also drove out of the inner city. Qin Yu walked down the wooden platform, and whispered a few words in Ya's ear. Ya obeys the command. Ya bowed, and then immediately issued an order to the team. Every 8 people get on a carriage. Huahaha, the archer team is not only very fast, but also very orderly and mobile, almost to the point of being disciplined. 80 people boarded 10 carriages in an instant. The gate on the south wall of the outer city was slowly opened, and 10 carriages quietly drove out of the gate slowly, approaching the enemy camp along a strange route. Since the two armies were more than 200 meters apart, the enemy was busy organizing the team, setting up tents, etc., and rarely paid attention to the Dragon tribe. However, as the carriages began to accelerate, the dense sound of horse hooves attracted the enemy's attention. Since the commander-in-chief of this battle, Chief Black Wolf, had not arrived yet. Several tribal chiefs did not directly launch an attack out of caution, but quickly ordered people to organize a defensive formation. Read more, read more, read more. Chapter 45. First battle victory. The incident happened suddenly. Even if they wanted to organize a team to stop the enemy's carriage, they had no time. They could only quickly form a defensive formation. At this time, the enemy's team seemed a little chaotic. Only about 100 people were gathered with messy weapons. Looking at the enemy's carriage rushing towards them, they could neither block nor run. They were not elite soldiers, but just tribesmen in the primitive tribe who guarded the tribe when they went out hunting. Although they were called warriors, they were very fragile when facing a real war. If the carriage in front of them hit them, if they dared to use their bodies to block it, they could be killed and end up. Fortunately, the carriage stopped about 100 meters ahead. Pull open the standing board. Ya shouted loudly. 10 carriages stood horizontally in front, each 3 meters apart. Following Ya's order, the ropes originally fixed on the roof were untied, and 2 2-meter long wooden boards were instantly hung down from the left and right sides. The 8 archers in the car instantly divided into 2 teams, with 4 archers standing on each of the 2 long boards on the left and right. 80 archers launched their attacks one after another in an instant, holding their bows in front of them, and putting arrows in their right hands on the bowstrings. Release. A clear, cold voice came from the mouth of the long-legged leader. The 80 archers reacted quickly, hooked the bowstrings with 3 fingers, and a wave of arrows instantly covered the enemy. Several tribe leaders stared with their eyes wide open, their expressions stunned. When dozens or even hundreds of bone arrows shot into their camp, taking away the lives of many warriors, screams and blood rose everywhere. The tribe leaders of each tribe finally reacted from their sluggishness and immediately shouted, "Disperse! Disperse! Avoid the enemy's attack!" At this time, the enemy had been stunned by the sudden attack. The death, screams, and blood of the warriors around them made their morale drop rapidly. The speed of collapse was also unimaginable. They did not have any capable commander to give the soldiers a backbone. An army without a commander and generals, when the soldiers were attacked, would instantly run around like headless flies. As the old saying goes, it is easy to recruit soldiers, but difficult to find a general. This shows the importance of a general. The rain of arrows did not show mercy to the enemy because of their screams. On the contrary, it only made the archers shoot their arrows more fiercely. When a war begins, there are no innocent people among the attackers. There is no mercy for them. Letting go of the enemy is hurting yourself. Each of the 80 archers carried 20 arrows. A total of more than 1,600 arrows covered the enemy. Corpses lay all over the ground, blood dyed the camp red, and several vultures began to appear in the blue sky, circling in the sky. A woo, a woo, a woo, a woo, a woo. The rapid and powerful wolf howls suddenly permeated the battlefield. Dozens of wolves suddenly emerged in front and ran quickly towards the direction of the carriage. Ya looked at the wolf pack ahead with hatred in her eyes, but at this time the quiver behind the archer was empty. She suppressed her anger and ordered everyone, go back to the carriage, pull up the stand, turn the carriage around and go back. After many drills, the carriage moved very quickly. Before the wolf pack was about to catch up, the carriage finally sped up. After the wolf pack chased for more than 100 meters, a quick whistle sounded, stopping the wolf pack's pace. The black wolf leader suddenly appeared in the distance and blew the bone whistle in his hand to call the wolf pack back. Looking at the miserable situation in the camp at this time, the black wolf leader's face was not good, and he cursed these idiots in his heart. So many people were lost before the battle started, and the morale was terrible. It was obvious that, as long as the team gathered and stared at the rain of arrows and charged forward, the enemy would retreat. A distance of 100 meters. Is it difficult to get close? What a bunch of useless idiots. The black wolf leader cursed viciously in his heart. But at this time, he could only suppress his anger and walk into the camp. From now on, the teams of each tribe will be led by me, the Black Wolf tribe said coldly. The heads of several tribes also looked a little ashamed, but they had never seen such a situation before, and it was normal that they did not think of a way to deal with it in time. Several people comforted themselves silently in their hearts. The strength of the dragon tribe is too strong. How about we retreat? The head of the feather tribe was an old man, and he could not help but speak out at this time. The head of the Black Wolf tribe could not help but sneer after hearing it. Now we have the hope of destroying them if we unite together. Now you have made enemies with them. When you go back, do you have the ability to face the dragon tribe alone? The head of the feather tribe was silent after hearing it. Yes, it seems that several tribes can barely cope with it when they unite together. If they really go back, what can they do with the few people in the feather tribe to deal with the revenge of others? Several tribal heads quickly understood this truth and did not mention retreating. They just had some objections to handing over the command to the Black Wolf tribe. The head of the Black Wolf tribe smiled coldly. Okay, then you will lead the troops and I will take the team back. Everyone's face changed drastically after hearing it. Without the warriors of the Black Wolf tribe, they would have no hope of defeating the dragon tribe. Now they could neither advance nor retreat, and after a long time, everyone had to compromise. Now that they were in the water together, no one could think of retreating. Since stretching the neck would be a knife, shrinking the neck would also be a knife, everyone could only grit their teeth and stretch their necks to see if they could bite the enemy to death. After the Black Wolf tribe leader took over the command, he quickly dealt with the corpses in the camp and distributed food to appease morale. Then he counted the losses. A total of more than 840 people lost, more than 110 people at once, more than 200 were injured, and more than 140 were slightly injured and could fight. Excluding those who were seriously injured and could not fight, a total of more than 170 people were lost this time. Nearly 1/5 of the troops were lost before the battle officially started. But because of this, he got the command of the army. The Black Wolf tribe leader silently comforted himself. It was already noon, and due to the tragic situation in the morning, the morale of the tribal alliance was bleak, so the Black Wolf tribe leader did not choose to attack. Ya led the team and drove the carriage back to the dragon tribe. The carriage team passed through the south gate and entered the city and was greeted with cheers. The opponent, who was killed in one blow, fled in panic, and everyone on the wooden platform saw it clearly. Several leaders were also shocked by Qin Yu's idea. He actually used the carriage to improve the flexibility and mobility of the archers to the extreme. The opponent did not have long-range suppression methods, so the archers and the archer carriages were like an animal world without natural enemies. However, the Black Wolves of the Black Wolf tribe were very fast, which somewhat restricted Qin Yu's plan. If there were no Black Wolves, Qin Yu could really play a hand of retreating when the enemy advances, and advancing when the enemy retreats, and repeating this until all the bows and arrows in the tribe were used up. But I'm afraid that by that time, the enemies would have been completely destroyed by the sharp bows and arrows. Please vote for the monthly ticket and read Chapter 46 Gap. Woo woo woo, woo woo woo. A dull and high-pitched horn sounded from the horizon, and the enemies outside the city began to gradually gather and approach the direction of the city wall. Charge, attack the city. Kill rrrrrr. The battle broke out suddenly, and the roars and shouts of killing resounded through the sky. More than 200 primitive warriors gathered from the enemy camp, wearing animal skins and holding various primitive weapons in their hands, launched an attack on the southern wall of the dragon tribe. Sharp arrows with bone arrowheads turned into a storm and whistled in. The sudden attack instantly paused the enemy's offensive. Those who turn around and run away will die. Die. A team of Black Wolf warriors at the end of the siege team waved stone knives in their hands and forced everyone to move forward with a fierce face. Soon, more than 200 primitive warriors had to desperately approach the city wall in order to survive. Because the siege team did not have many defensive means, and the enemy's bows and spears were too powerful, until they rushed to the bottom of the city wall, they paid a full loss of nearly 100 people. The heavy wooden planks were transported to the city with difficulty, and then put on the city wall. Since the wooden stake wall of the dragon tribe was only 3 meters high, the wooden planks could be easily put on. Seeing that the passage to the high wall was finally built, a glimmer of hope flashed in the eyes of many primitive warriors. The Black Wolf tribe warriors behind also began to urge everyone to start attacking the city. However, reality gave them a heavy blow. When they wanted to rush to the city wall, sharp stone spears stabbed them coldly and ruthlessly. Blood and intestines fell on the city wall, and screams and wails permeated people's hearts. The blood mist filled the surroundings, and the high wall seemed to have turned into an insurmountable natural chasm in front of them. Even if a few enemies jumped from the city wall into the city, they would face the siege of more than a dozen Pan-Han tribe warriors holding stone knives. Leaping into the city is actually no different from suicide. What really works is to exchange your life for the lives of the defending army. However, the dense spear array and the team in the city ready to encircle and kill the enemy who jumped in at any time made the casualties of both sides reach a very terrifying value. Often, the enemy had to sacrifice more than a dozen lives to kill a warrior of the dragon tribe. Not only was there a huge gap between the two sides, but the weaker side was the one attacking the city. The 200-man siege team gradually became only 30 or 40 people. At this time, the corpses piled up on the ground under the city, and the bloody cries continued. Even if there was a threat from the Black Wolf tribe warriors, no one listened anymore. Fleeing madly, the remaining 20 or 30 people were completely crazy, running around without reason. Seeing this, the Black Wolf tribe warriors had to turn around and retreat. Shoot. Ya looked at the team of Black Wolf warriors who turned around and fled in front with cold eyes. Countless arrows turned into a swift rain of arrows and annihilated the team of more than a dozen Black Wolf warriors. The bloody battle was over. The other side only organized a siege, and then it seemed to be silent and there was no movement. In a city meeting hall. Chief, it's been a day. The other side only sent a team of more than 200 people to attack the city, but they were almost wiped out. So far, there has been no action. Yu Ming walked into the hall, raised his hand and saluted, and then began to report the situation. Qin Yu nodded slightly. If they were fighting on flat ground, the difference between the dragon tribe and other tribes would be equivalent to that between a lion and a wolf. But now that the dragon tribe has the advantage of defending the city, the gap between the two sides has become that between a lion and a skinny dog. The difference in weapons alone is huge, so how can they capture this wooden city? Qin Yu kept rubbing his chin with the palm of his right hand. He now put himself in the other person's position. What do they need to rely on to have the hope of capturing this wooden city? There is no advantage in numbers. Even if they call another team of people, they still can't capture it. After thinking about it, the only possibility is to rely on the group of Black Wolves. If the advantage of the Black Wolf is magnified, the enemy is not in a hurry to attack the city during the day, so it is very likely that they want to put the time at night. In just a few moments of thinking, Qin Yu guessed the enemy's intention. But what were those 200 people here for? It didn't look like they were attacking the city. It was impossible to capture it with that few people. Were they here to test the situation? That would be too wasteful, right? Qin Yu frowned and looked a little puzzled. The other party shouldn't be so stupid. A tent somewhere in the camp opposite the city. At this time, several people in the tent were arguing fiercely. Heilang clan leader, you are clearly making our tribe's warriors lose their lives in vain. Yes, what is your intention? We won't fight this battle. The noisy voice made the Heilang clan leader frown. Those 200 people were drawn from all tribes. Didn't my Heilang clan suffer any losses? Blindly attacking without testing the enemy's strength will only result in greater losses. If you know more than me, how can your tribe be weaker than mine? Seeing the Heilang clan leader's angry defense, everyone was suddenly speechless. After a long silence, the chief of the Earth tribe suddenly said, "When is the chief of the Black Wolf tribe going to attack the city?" The chief of the Black Wolf tribe snorted coldly and said, "Our camp is in the south, and the enemy's strongest defense should also be in the south. So we have to find a way to bypass the south, to attack the weak defense. And the vision during the day is too clear, and it is easy for people to see through the situation. So I plan to attack with all my strength at dawn. Wolf God, this battle will win." The chief of the Black Wolf tribe reverently stroked the Black Wolf King under his knees. The other chiefs immediately praised him upon hearing this. The chief of the Black Wolf is really talented. The enemy must not have thought that we would attack in the middle of the night and bypass the southern wall to attack other places. A group of people set up flags here, and no one stopped them. The chief of the Black Wolf tribe stood up and prepared to leave. Before leaving, he reminded them, "Let the warriors under your command have a good rest and prepare for the battle in the middle of the night." After that, the chief of the Black Wolf tribe left the tent with the Black Wolf King. In the meeting hall of the inner city of the Dragon tribe, Qin Yu sat in front of the stone stove, leaning his hands on it. The scorching temperature drove away the chill. The coal in the stone stove had been burned red, and even without the flame, the temperature was still not low. At this time, the night was thick, and it should be late at night. In order to confirm his idea, he had ordered everyone to rest in shifts during the day and to guard against enemy attacks at night. Hundreds of bonfires were lit in the city, and the faint flames on them brought some light to the city. Being attacked in the dark is the easiest to cause moral collapse and chaos. Therefore, Qin Yu was willing to waste some resources and light hundreds of bonfires to illuminate the dragon tribe. At this time, in order to deal with emergencies, he has not slept yet, and sleepiness floated on his eyelids, making him yawn. Rubbing his eyes, Qin Yu got up and washed his face with some clean water in the wooden basin, which would make him more awake. Please read the new book. Please vote for the monthly ticket. Please recommend. Chapter 47 Epilogue. It was late at night. The sky was slightly bright, but it was still pitch black. In the camp outside the city, people were moving around in the middle of the night, and a faint voice came from a tent. Chief Yu, you two will lead 100 people to attack the south wall head on. Chief Shao and Chief Guanyang will lead 50 people to attack the west wall. Chief He will lead 50 people to attack the east city. Chief Teng and I will lead the remaining 270 people to go around the north city wall. Remember, you have to make a big move, because the north city is the real attack. Chief Helang gave orders one by one. After each siege team arrives at the location, listen to my whistle and launch the attack at the same time. After speaking, Chief Helang turned and walked out of the tent, and the other chiefs also began to walk out to prepare to integrate the team. In the dark night, a team of hundreds of people moved quietly and began to slowly surround the wooden city of the dragon tribe. For fear of being discovered, the siege team stopped 100 meters away from the wooden city. Chief, why are you concentrating the troops on the north and south sides for defense? Yuming asked in confusion in the tent. Qin Yu raised his hand and used a wooden spoon to scoop some hot goat milk from the stone pot into the bowl. He leaned over and took a sip and instantly felt much warmer. After putting the bowl down, he slowly said, the other party wants to attack at night, just to catch them by surprise. Smart people will lead the team to the least likely wall to launch an attack, because that will definitely be the weakest place, while stupid people will continue to choose to attack in the south. Therefore, considering the two results, I will concentrate the team mainly on the north and south walls for defense. Yuming showed an expression of sudden enlightenment, but then asked immediately, what if they attack from the east and west walls? Qin Yu raised his head and glanced at him. So I arranged you in the inner city. Wherever the black wolf appears, we will take the stone spear team to go there. Haha, chief, you are still thoughtful. Yuming laughed. Whoosh 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 whoosh. A sharp bone whistle suddenly rang out in the middle of the night, and at the same time, fierce shouts and cries of killing came from all directions of the dragon tribe. Qin Yu's keen hearing vaguely heard the sharp whistle coming from the north. He couldn't help but smile, as expected. Call ya over, and let's go to the north city together. Yuming arched his hands, and quickly turned around, and ran out of the hall. As the whistle sounded, the enemy army located 100 meters away from the 4 city walls began to attack at the same time. Shouts and cries resounded through the sky. Outside the north city, the Black Wolf chief and the Rattan tribe chief each led the elite of the tribe to launch an attack. The warriors wearing rattan armor carried heavy siege planks and rushed to the city wall. The bone arrows encountered a certain resistance when shooting on the rattan armor, and the probability of penetration changed from 100% to probability of penetration, but if they shot on the legs or head and neck, they could also kill or lose the ability to move. The agile posture of more than 100 black wolves made it difficult for bows and arrows to hit them. The darkness greatly weakened the power of the archers, and it was indeed the best time for the enemy to attack. The Black Wolf chieftain couldn't help but smile at the situation in front of him. His decision was indeed extremely correct. There were sudden screams in front of the siege troops. Many Black Wolf, or primitive warriors were rushing, and suddenly fell down. Then there were extremely tragic screams. The deep pit was full of sharp wooden thorns, which could take the enemy's life in an instant. Ambush. No. This is a trap buried in advance. The Black Wolf chieftain gritted his teeth and said, it was too late to stop the attack at this time. Once the team retreated, the result would be failure. If the enemy chased them out, their fate would be even worse. Only by attacking the city wall and killing them in without hesitation could there be a possibility of victory. The Black Wolf chieftain raised the extremely sharp bone knife in his hand, turned over and rode on the Black Wolf King to rush forward. There were traps, deep pits and trenches all over the front. If you were not careful, you might fall into them and be stabbed to death by sharp wooden thorns. The bloody corpses slowly filled the pits, and the enemies stepped on the corpses of their companions and began to rush towards the city wall frantically. In addition to the 30 archers on a row of wooden platforms in the North City, there were more than 70 shield and spearmen led by G. In addition, Qin Yu was leading Yap, Li, Yuming and others in a carriage to lead the team towards the North City. When the enemies in the east and west directions encountered traps and lost some soldiers, their morale collapsed instantly and fled. Only the enemies on the south wall had a slightly higher resistance. Of course, there were no traps in the south. At first, Qin Yu considered that, in order to confuse the enemy, he only buried traps in the east, west and north directions, leaving the enemy's frontal direction for attack. On the south wall, after predicting the number of the enemy, Jiang Li directly rushed out of the city with 40 shield and axemen. Every swing of the huge and sharp animal bone axe killed and injured a piece. The broken limbs and arms fell all over the ground, and the blood dyed the snow red. The enemy was crazy, completely crazy. Facing such a heavy force with strong defense, destructive power and terrifying lethality, they were like a peasant army encountering an elite regular army, and their morale collapsed without any resistance. The corpses on the ground were piled up, and the screams and wails made the remaining primitive people flee more fiercely, fearing that death would befall them next. Don't chase them. The fighting in the North City seems to be very fierce. We have to rush to support them. Jiang Li shouted and called his troops back and rushed to the north. Clang, a knife light like a natural mode flashed in the dark night. Seeing the Black Wolf rushing in front of him fall down with blood spurting from his neck, Qin Yu's face did not change at all, and he continued to hold the ring-headed knife to approach the surrounding enemies. Kill. 2 warriors of the Black Wolf tribe rushed over bravely. 2 cold lights flashed, and the 2 watched the other's knife cut off the weapons in their hands, and the sharp blade cut through their chests. Blood gushed out, and the 2 men fell down slowly with dull eyes. Clan leader, be careful. A Black Wolf suddenly pounced over, and Yuming behind him warned. Oh, the Black Wolf wailed, and suddenly fell to the ground. It turned out that Yap, who was far away, shot an arrow into the Black Wolf's neck with a silver moon bow. Qin Yu nodded slightly and continued to fight forward. Because there were too many Black Wolves, the wooden platform could not be defended at all. The agile Black Wolves could instantly pounce on the warriors on the wooden platform and fall to the bottom of the city. Therefore, a large number of enemies rushed into the city and fought with the warriors of the Dragon tribe. However, the team led by Li performed the best on the battlefield at this time. Since the Panshan tribe lived in the mountains, they knew how to fight wild beasts and their weaknesses very well. Therefore, the Black Wolf was just like a slightly fiercer goat in the hands of the warriors of the Panshan tribe. Chapter 48 Post-War Reorganization. Kill. Kill. Shouts of killing resounded through the sky. Large numbers of Dragon tribe warriors quickly approached the North City, and the enemy's offensive was constantly being compressed. At this time, the enemy originally numbered nearly 300 people, including wolves, but now there are less than 100 people left. The Black Wolf chief, holding a bone knife and riding the Black Wolf King, kept wandering around in the crowd and fighting hard. Chief, there is no hope, let's retreat. Several Black Wolf warriors beside him couldn't help but persuade him as they looked at the surrounding scene. At this time, the Black Wolf chief had fallen into madness, and the whole person was like a killing demon, riding the Black Wolf King and continuing to kill forward. Yuming and Ji, holding a stone spear, rushed up and blocked the Black Wolf chief's way. The Black Wolf chief glanced coldly and shouted, "Kill." The Black Wolf King instantly jumped up and pounced on Yuming on the left. Looking at the Black Wolf King, whose physique was nearly twice that of other wolves, Yuming did not dare to resist and jumped sideways to avoid the attack of the Black Wolf. The spear in Ji's hand stabbed towards the neck of the Black Wolf chief on the Black Wolf King. The Black Wolf chief narrowly avoided it by leaning back. The feeling of being on the verge of death at that moment made him suddenly sober up. He quickly swung the bone knife in his hand and forced Ji's attack back. Then he swept around and saw that he was doomed to defeat. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "Retreat." Then he quickly rode the Black Wolf King and turned to run out of the city. "Block the city gate," Yuming ordered loudly. However, the fighting around was quite chaotic at this time, and there was no time to organize a team to rush over to block the gate. Seeing that the Black Wolf Chief was riding the Black Wolf King and leading a group of tribal warriors to escape from the city, suddenly, a sound of breaking through the air was heard. Whoosh! A silver long arrow instantly pierced the body of the Black Wolf King, and the Black Wolf Chief staggered and fell to the ground. The Black Wolf King's eyes were dull. He spat out blood and fell to the ground without a breath. Wolf God! The Black Wolf Chief struggled to get up from the ground. Looking at the Black Wolf King who had fallen to the ground and had no breath, his face was stunned for a moment, and then endless anger surged in his heart. "Dragon Tribe, I will fight you to the death." Before the Black Wolf Chief finished speaking, a silver arrow pierced his chest, blood continued to flow out of his mouth, and he fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. Yab walked over with an expressionless face and pulled out the silver arrow. "Fight to the death. Then you'd better die." A cold voice came from Yab's mouth. This war between primitive tribes came to an end. With the death of the Black Wolf Chief, the other Black Wolf warriors suddenly lost their will to resist and dropped their weapons and begged for mercy. "Tie up all the captives and put them together. Kill the seriously injured ones. Count the losses and carry the wounded to the inner city for treatment as soon as possible," Qin Yu said and left with a team. After this battle, no one in the eastern part of the grassland should dare to easily provoke the Dragon Tribe. Back to the Patriarch's wooden house. Qin Yu was so sleepy that he fell down to rest. Everything will be discussed after dawn. In the early morning, it was a sunny morning. The cold wind was howling in the past, and the cold weather was gone. Compared with the past, it was indeed very warm today. Qin Yu raised his head and covered the sun with his hands, looking up through the gap. "Today is a good sun for kidneys." Qin Yu smiled and joked, then got up and rushed to the meeting hall. When he arrived in front of the meeting hall, Qin Yu walked in under the respectful eyes of the two guards and sat down on the chair in front of the steps. The breakfast for the Patriarch was already on the table. This was a routine set by Qin Yu. Discuss matters while eating breakfast. The breakfast on the table was quite rich, with a bowl of hot goat milk, a bowl of steamed grain cake and a bowl of boiled mutton. The 2 rows of wooden tables under the steps were also full of people. There were still many questions after the battle, so everyone just ate a little and started to report the situation. Jiang Li was the first to speak. "Chief, the loss of the tribe's warriors last night was about 30 people. The lightly injured and seriously injured have taken Bayou soup, and their injuries have improved." Qin Yu nodded and suddenly found that Li was not there, so he asked, "Have the people from Pan's Han tribe left?" Jiang Li replied, "Yes, Chief. Lord Li was a little uneasy last night, so he took the team back overnight." "Okay, what's the situation with the prisoners?" Qin Yu asked as he looked down. Yuming put down the wooden bowl of goat milk in his hand and responded, reporting to the chief, "The seriously injured prisoners have been executed, and the lightly injured and escaped prisoners were finally captured. A total of more than 200 people." "So many?" Qin Yu was a little surprised. If these people are included, the total population of the Dragon Tribe will reach more than 700 people. The population is about to break 1,000, and once it breaks 1,000, the Dragon Tribe can be considered a large tribe. Qin Yu had a hunch that his development speed should be considered very fast. This war gave him a total of 5 primary winner gold coins. I believe that his strength can be greatly improved after drawing the rewards. But there is no need to rush now. Qin Yu opened his mouth and ordered, "Remember the tribes that attacked us this time. Yuming, Yap, and Jiang Li, the 3 of you will lead the team to destroy the Black Wolf tribe. No matter whether they are people or wolves, tie them back to me. Remember, the witch of the Black Wolf tribe must also be captured, and his life must not be harmed." According to Qin Yu's guess, the Black Wolf tribe must have some secret technique left over from ancient civilization to drive the Black Wolf, and this technique must be in the hands of the witch. "I obey your order." The 3 stood up, bowed, and then turned and left in a hurry. The Black Wolf tribe suffered heavy losses after this battle, and the chief of the Black Wolf tribe was already dead, so this was the best time to destroy the Black Wolf tribe. After the three left, Qin Yu asked whether the bow and arrow workshop and carriage workshop in the tribe had started to operate. In addition, various armaments needed to be continuously produced to prepare for the tribe's future wars. The placement of slaves, work, and even integration into the tribe in the future were important matters. In fact, as long as most slaves had good food and were full, they would basically not resist integrating into the tribe. On the contrary, they would be grateful in their hearts. And a small number of slaves who would rather die than surrender, or even resist making trouble, and cannot integrate into the dragon tribe, would eventually end up in a miserable way. Maybe there would be multiple corpses in the house one night, someone would be taken away for some disease, or even someone would disappear and escape while going to the toilet. In fact, there were people behind all this, and there were so many reasons, just to find a reason for death, so that other people in the tribe would not panic. Qin Yu will only be kind and righteous to the tribe members who are grateful and have contributed to the development of the tribe. As for the bugs in the tribe, Qin Yu will kill them as soon as possible without mercy. It will be uncomfortable if it takes too long. After this battle, there will be a period of development. The pace will speed up later, and the world war between players that everyone is looking forward to will also speed up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Conspiracy. The forest in winter seemed to be covered with a layer of snow. At this time, Lee was leading the team to rush back. The mountain road was dangerous and everyone staggered along the way. Often, when they stepped forward, they would sink half a meter deep. Knock knock knock. Knock. Everyone was startled. What's that sound? Lee frowned. Why does it sound so much like Huola's voice? Impossible, sir. Huoli should be sleeping at this time. Lee was shocked and immediately shouted, hurry up. Something happened to the tribe. Everyone was anxious when they heard it and quickly quickened their pace and followed Lee into the depths of the forest. Panzan Tribe Station. Hundreds of people gathered in the open space below the cliff. The second prince killed his father and brother in order to seize the position of the tribe leader. He is really a despicable person. Today, Gu will comfort the spirit of the tribe leader in heaven and clear away his unworthy descendants. Gu slowly approached the second prince with a bone dagger in his hand. At this time, the second prince was tied up, his mouth was blocked, and he knelt on the ground, with two cunning beasts standing beside him. The cunning beasts looked like humans, with pig-like manes all over their bodies, monkey-like faces, strong and agile bodies, more than 2 meters tall, and golden claws that could split mountains and break rocks. The cunning beasts from ancient species are said to be able to live for nearly 300 years, and can be regarded as immortal species. At this time, the cunning beast that originally belonged to the second prince had been hollowed out by its companions, and fell to the ground without any life. The second prince, who had no one to rely on, was at the mercy of others. The anger in his eyes at this time was almost tangible. Conspiracy. It's all conspiracy. And Guidu's expression was a little playful, as if to say, didn't you kill your father and brother with your own hands? You are just a fool blinded by power. You are used as a pawn and still believe it foolishly. No wonder your father doesn't want you to inherit the position of patriarch. Guidu couldn't help but reveal a hint of sarcasm at the corner of his mouth. Execute him. Execute him. You beast who killed your father and brother. We don't have people like you in Panzan tribe. Execute him. Execute him. In the crowd, the people arranged by Guidu in advance began to incite the emotions of the masses. Everyone followed and shouted to execute the second prince. No one realized that who would be the chief after the execution of the second prince. I'm afraid that Guidu would step out and take on the responsibility as the second chief. Guidu raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet. Such a despicable person must not be kept in our Panzan tribe. I will execute him to comfort the spirit of the chief in heaven. As soon as the voice fell, Guidu raised the bone dagger in his hand and stabbed it hard into the chest of the second prince. Puff, blood gushed out of the second prince's mouth in an instant. He widened his eyes and died with the crime of killing his father and brother. Second chief, now the tribe has lost its chief and the chief has left. Why don't you take over as the chief temporarily? Yes. The chief is leaning towards the outside tribe, so the position of chief should be held by the second chief. The person arranged by Guidu began to incite again. Second chief, this matter should be discussed after Lord Li comes back. An elder of the Panshan tribe stood up in the crowd and said. Guidu frowned and was about to refute. Whoosh. Suddenly a wooden spear shot across the air and pierced the elder's chest. Puff, blood spurted out of his mouth, and the elder fell to the ground instantly, without a breath. It's the chief. The chief is here with the enemy. Fight back. Fight back. All the tribesmen without weapons, go hide. The scene suddenly became chaotic, and the crowd fell into panic and fled everywhere. The warriors standing behind the wooden wall began to throw stones and wooden spears outside. At this time, Li and his team were stunned in front of the gate of the tribe. What are you doing? I'm Li. Haha, you traitor. Kill him. The warriors inside the wooden wall pretended not to hear and just kept attacking outside. Everyone retreat. Li ordered. Everyone began to retreat. Li listened to the panicked shouts in the tribe and felt a faint sense of conspiracy. But at this time he couldn't guess what happened. Li. What do you want to do by coming back now after secretly communicating with other tribes? I understand. Did you instigate the second prince to kill his father and brother? At this time, Guidu climbed up the wooden wall and pointed at Li outside and asked loudly. Li was stunned and said in disbelief, what? The tribe leader and the eldest prince are dead. Don't pretend. Kill them for me and avenge the tribe leader and the eldest prince. At this time, most of the people on the wooden wall were Guidu's people, so under the instigation of everyone, they began to launch a crazy attack on Li. Li quickly turned around and hid behind the tree, and a wooden spear appeared at his previous position. The other party made a fatal move. Li was slightly panicked. He had only been out for 2 days. What had happened in the tribe? How could this happen? Knock knock knock. Knock knock. The sound of grinding wood suddenly rang out. Li leaned out his head and looked. His eyes widened instantly. A dozen tall and strong sly beasts began to jump out from the wooden wall. From a distance, they looked like ferocious giant apes. Knock knock knock. Strange sounds rang out, and a dozen sly beasts rushed towards Li in an instant. The earth seemed to be shaking, and the snow on the surrounding trees collapsed. The right arm of a sly beast swung towards a warrior hiding behind a tree. Crack. The tree and the primitive warrior were both broken into 2 pieces. Kill. At this time, the gate of Panshan tribe opened, and Guidu led more than 100 warriors to kill. While rushing, he shouted, "Revenge for the chief." Li gritted his teeth and felt very aggrieved. The other side did not give him a chance to explain. The dirty water had already been thrown at him. Seeing that the situation could not be reversed by fighting hard, he knew better than anyone how powerful the Huali were. Retreat. Retreat down the mountain. Huali don't like to leave the forest. Li shouted and led the team to turn around and run madly. More than a dozen Huali followed behind and kept jumping on the trees, shaking up the snow avalanche. From time to time, they pounced on and bit several soldiers to death. A strong sense of crisis enveloped Li's whole body. He rolled forward with all his strength and fell far away. Behind him, a Huali pounced on the 2 or 3 large trees around him with one claw. If he hadn't had time to run just now, I'm afraid his body would have been turned into minced meat now. Li endured the severe pain, struggled to get up, and continued to run forward. At this time, the team of nearly 100 people had lost more than 30 people. Wooden spears kept shooting from behind, and more were crushed by Huala's claws. The scene was extremely cruel. Watching his men die one by one, Li's hatred surged wildly. It takes about half an hour to get from the Panshan tribe to the eastern edge of the grassland. The recommendation is broken. Not enough to follow up. The recommendation is broken. Not following up will affect your grades. If you like it, please support it. Please. Chapter 50 Blue Quality Building. Li led everyone to escape from the forest in a panic and entered the grassland. The dozen or so cunning wolves stopped at the edge of the forest, watched for a long time, and slowly turned and left. Lee was panting heavily. At this time, he was already exhausted. Looking at the soldiers around him, only more than 30 people escaped in the end. GUI do. Lee gritted his teeth and spat out a name. Leader, what should we do now? Go to the dragon tribe. After thinking for a long time, Lee only thought of this way. The chief of the dragon tribe treated the people with kindness and courtesy, and he led the team to support them. Now he should not refuse to ask for his help. But the dragon tribe can't deal with those cunning wolves. Lee was struggling while leading the remaining team towards the direction of the dragon tribe. Congratulations on winning a war and getting one primary winner gold coin. Qin Yu was stunned. Hearing the reminder in his ear, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It must be that Xiao and his team have successfully captured the Black Wolf tribe. At this time, he already had 6 primary winner coins in his hand, which meant he could draw 6 times. Originally, he wanted to save up for 10 consecutive draws, in case there was a guaranteed minimum, but Qin Yu couldn't help it after all. It's like 7 naked beauties in front of you, how can you not be moved? In a trance, he came to the lush cliff again, gritted his teeth, and threw all 6 gold coins in his hand down. Bang, 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 bang. 6 consecutive amazing splashes of water, followed by 6 streams of light rushing up from the pool. 3 white lights, 1 blue light, 2 green lights. You consume 1 primary Victor gold coin and get rough polishing agent x10, white quality. You consume 1 primary Victor gold coin and get 9 ring broadsword x1, green quality. You consume 1 primary Victor gold coin and get dragon spear x1, green quality. You consume 1 primary Victor gold coin and get primary animal pen x1, blue quality. Although 3 white items were produced, there is still a blue one. Qin Yu comforted himself in his heart. In a trance, his consciousness returned to the hall. Qin Yu began to check the items he had obtained this time. 9-ring broadsword, the fine iron 9-ring broadsword made by the top knife maker for 3 years. Its blade is 1.23 meters long, held with both hands, and each of the 9 rings weighs half a pound, so this knife is surprisingly heavy, but the power of swinging is even more fierce. Dragon spear, the pinnacle work of master blacksmith. Its material is pure iron, which contains a special soft iron. Therefore, when it is swung, the dragon spear has a kind of bending elasticity, and the spear shaft swings like a dragon's body, hence the name dragon spear. Primary animal stable, it can be built at any location, and can be used to raise wild animals. Over time, the wild animals will be tamed. The physical fitness, recovery speed, reproduction speed, and strength of the wild animals living in the animal stable will gradually improve. The primary animal stable can raise up to 100 wild animals. Qin Yu was very satisfied with the 6 rewards. Among them, the rough polishing agent can be left to the shield axe team to add another 30 new warriors. The 9 rings broadsword is quite suitable for Jiangli. Fortunately, after this battle, it can be regarded as his meritorious service. I will give it to him later. There is no need to say more about the dragon spear. This one must be given to Yuming. After all, he is Qin Yu's headquarters general. He is loyal and commendable. He has also made a lot of merit in this city defense battle. In addition to the attack on the Black Wolf tribe, it can be given to him. At present, it seems that among Qin Yu's generals, only Ji does not have a suitable weapon. Xiaoyu cannot be considered a general for the time being, but this little guy has also made a lot of contributions, but there is no suitable reward for him for the time being. After thinking about it, Qin Yu decided to expand the scout team to 30 people, which can be regarded as a reward for him. The quality of the animal pen is blue, the same as the bow and arrow workshop, which means that the value will not be lower than the bow and arrow workshop. And it actually has the ability to tame wild beasts, which really surprised Qin Yu. If you catch a few tigers, lions, bears, etc., and keep them in for a few months, you can drive them to fight, then the value of this building is very high. It's even better than the Black Wolf tribe driving black wolves. The so-called upper limit of the number mentioned above is not a problem at all. After taming, you can release them and raise them in other places and free up space to tame the next batch. Anyway, the introduction does not mention that, if you don't put them in the animal pen after taming, they will come back and bite you. Secondly, Qin Yu discovered that the gold finger of this lucky guy favored by the mother of Blue Star. As long as the quality reaches blue, the value and ability it can bring are beyond imagination. What did the previous bow and arrow workshop bring him? The bows that originally needed a year and a large number of mature bowsmiths, as well as tedious processing of materials, can now be easily produced. Qin Yu felt that, if he could open a few more bow and arrow workshops in the future, he could completely go the trade model and become an arms chief. Encourage other players to fight, and then he will make a lot of profits from it. It's cool to think about it, but Qin Yu will not do that for the time being. If there is something, he must first arm himself to be strong, before talking about other things. Report to the tribe leader. Leader Yu, Leader Ya and others are back. At this time, a soldier came in and raised his hand to report. Qin Yu nodded slightly and said, "Follow me to pick them up." After the voice fell, Qin Yu led a team of soldiers and walked straight to the south gate. The south gate of the outer city of the dragon tribe was open at this time, and many tribesmen welcomed the victorious team. Jiang Li, Yuming, and Ya only brought more than 200 warriors this time, but they brought back more than 400 slaves. In addition, more than 60 wolves were tied to the carriage, as well as large and small foods, animal skins, weapons, leather clothes, grains and meat, etc. Well done. Ha ha ha. Qin Yu came from the inner city in a carriage. After getting off the car, he saw such a huge harvest, and his face was overjoyed. This time, the three of you have made great contributions. I said a long time ago that meritorious service should be rewarded. Come on. As soon as the voice fell, the two warriors behind him held a nearly 20 Jin 9 ring broadsword in both hands, and the other held a 3 meter long and 6 Jin heavy dragon spear in both hands. Looking at the huge and domineering 9 ring broadsword filled with cold light, Jiang Li's eyes were about to pop out, and his eyes could not be moved away in an instant. And Yuming looked at the stone spear in his hand, and then looked at the exquisite and domineering spear. His eyes lit up instantly, as if he had seen a naked/beautiful woman. Read and read. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.